Yeah, y'all know what it is. IZM Sports, episode 101 out this month. We putting it down for real. Let y'all know we serious about this IZM Sports business over here. Let these people know, man. 101 episodes today.
Can you do? I only got two hands.
101, 101.
101.
101. We're going to keep it going. You know, supplying y'all with the real sports conversations y'all been missing in y'all lives. All these other folks having these bogus conversations, contrived conversations, make-believe narrative.
Give some background. Unbelievable.
I thought you were about to talk about my amazing hair. Just
no, what do you call it? You were challenged by that woman.
Wow, that's crazy.
You accepted the challenge.
What is that?
63 pounds. 63 pounds.
Wow, that's weird.
Was that live? Or was that something recorded?
I don't know. We all good now, though, right?
Yeah.
Coach E, say something.
She's different. You're in a much better place, and she'll be the same.
Hold on. Hey, Jazz. StreamYard got us messed up right now. Yo, Coach E, say something. Coach Wes.
Yo.
Cliff.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so we're going to do what we do. Y'all know how we do. I'm about to throw up a video. Let's like, share, subscribe, promote, bring people into the conversation. We got a lively one set up for the day. We got the homie Marques Bragg, who's already in the building. Former Clifford J. Scotty, basketball player, class of 1987. Went on to Providence University, did big things there. Went on the NBA, did big things there. Now he's head coach of the Newark Tech Terriers, and he's doing some awesome things there with the young folks at Newark Tech. And in the second half of our show, we have Benny Boom, filmmaker Benny Boom. We're going to talk boxing, talk about pugilism, talk about some of these offshoot leagues and MMA, UFC, all those types of things. But we're going to get in that type of conversation. But in the meantime, in between time, real hip-hop for the people. Let's do the damn thing.
Yeah. 24 hours of peace, love, unity, safely having fun. Real hip-hop for the people. It's an engagement. It's a demonstration. Using hip-hop culture to get you activated. Let the people hear the bass, the vibration, the love, peace, unity, and watch them add on. It's a culture. It's not just rapping. It's not what we do. It's how we do it. We're doing it right here, Springfield Avenue, between Bergen and Plum. 24 hours straight, man. It's crazy.
Shit. We the people. The people of the culture.
Yeah, Ron Lawrence. Fire.
The hip-hop culture.
Yo, we love rap.
Yes,
Love
we
it. Yeah, we do. But it's really about the culture.
Yeah, let them know how.
Realness. The culture.
Yeah. What up, man?
You know a hard head makes a soft behind. If I only knew my schoolwork like I knew them rhymes. Mom upside my head, I'm trying to memorize every line. High power rap breaks, super rhymes. Deep into the culture, didn't even know it. Young entrepreneurs spitting bars like a poet in a rush to be mature behind bars when we blow it. In the bold act rappers too immature to outgrow it. It was more than just music, something next to breathing. I get giddy like a baby trying to spit while I'm feeding. The mic I be squeezing, dropping facts like I'm teaching, leaking flows for the perfect beat seeking. Mama used to say, take your time, young man. But I'm trying to feel a light so you can see when I tan. I'm like one I never ran, I'm a fan but never stand. Just take it backwards to the east, X and out the clan.
Holy is it great, having omnipresence, we are.
But no one stopped to think about the people.
Holy is it great, having omnipresence, we are.
But no one stopped to think about the people.
Pueblo Unido, grassroots Steve Biko. Rule number 1, never forget the people. I live that, I get back. Caught all in it, no gimmick, straight facts. From the start, I'm the light from the dark. Born from black art, knew my part. Daddy gave me, mama made me. Newark raised me, hip hop saved me. For the culture now, for the black and brown. Harriet Underground, sun up to sundown. Till my people get out. North to down south, spread like word of mouth. While you cowards is hooded, we battle the bullet. Black lives to the fullest. Out here to the end, stronger together. That's the day we win.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are.
But no one stopped to think about the people.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are.
Yeah. But no one stopped to think about the people.
The legends before me are ones I want to get it like, but hitting quick hit different when hitting right. Mob ties, this thing of ours is birthrights. Who's next for the culture and them searchlights? Do it to it, this music, I'm trying to talk through it. Every plan on my own, I watch the lie do it. Airborne to Skiki, like a Wendell Pruitt. Trumpets blow, this song's here, melodic ruins. Think for it before they have to think for 'em. Boom bap, I talk that and live enormous. Informers when present in your boy performing, especially when them drums snap by Ryan Lawrence. Do it all, that poet talk of the line crosser. Mini hawk and I speed by and flying saucers. Make it worth it, I can't take no feeble offers. Signed, sealed, and delivered, and you know the offer.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are.
But no one stopped to think about the people.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are. Yeah, the people.
Yes, that was Real Hip Hop for the People by your man Hakeem Green, featuring Do It All Kelly, G. Simone, Amiri Baraka Jr., produced by Ron Lawrence, video by Rock Davis in the great city of Newark, New Jersey, at the event 24 Hours of Peace. And now y'all know 24 Hours of Peace is about to go nationwide, bringing peace, love, unity, safely having fun, along with the Black Top Street Ball Association Black Top Festival. It's going to be phenomenal. Hip hop culture and basketball. And if anybody knows anything about basketball, it's the homie Marques Bragg. What up, bro?
What's up? How you guys doing?
What up, Keith?
What's going on, Keith?
Yeah,
What up,
man.
Coach?
What's going on?
What's
All
good
right,
with
all
you,
right.
bro?
Nothing, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Man. Thanks for coming on, man, and sharing the sports conversation with the fellas. You know, we all home team over here.
Yes,
West
sir.
graduated from Columbia High School, class of 1987.
My man Mark Brown was with you.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, Cliff graduated from Girls Vo in 1987.
Okay.
Yeah, so North Tech was my rival back in the day. So you coaching for the enemy.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
And Coach E over here, his basketball resume is like extensive and phenomenal. Everything from St. Anthony's to AAU.
Nice.
You know, Kyrie, Cat under, Big Cat up under him. So,
Nice.
yeah, we got some folks who I'm sure are well familiar with who you are. And, that said,
Hawk, before you get started, real quick, do you have any information on the Blacktop event website or anything like that right now? Because one of the viewers reached out to me and said they tried to look up some of the information as far as the schedule and the website and all of that.
Right now, we haven't released anything out to the public right now. We just line it all up, but we will be keeping you informed right here on IZM Sports. We'll keep everybody tuned as we go along. But, Marques and I, when I say we go back, we go back, back. Like I've known the brother since, 12 years old when, we were playing for the East Orange Cougars.
No, I think we go back further than that, bro.
What? All right, well, you know what? That said, I'm going to let you do your thing. You give them the history and then go on from there and tell us your personal history on up through, your career in the NBA.
Oh, great. No, again, thanks for having me. Yeah, man. I think me and you met Hop before that at the Y. We was in summer camp together at the East Orange Y. I think that's where I first learned to swim. You was in my
Yep.
camp. I remember because you was like one of the first jokers I knew had like green eyes. I was like, yo, who is this dude, bro?
Early. We saw about 5, 6 years old, 7.
7 years old, yeah, man. 7, 8 years
I
old,
was there
bro.
from like 4 to like 7, 8. And we used to go up to South Mount Reservation.
Every day, bro. Every day. Every single day. We was out
Wow.
there. Yeah, that's when we
Man.
first met. Yeah,
Crazy.
that's crazy. Crazy.
Wow.
Nah, I'm an Essex County kid. I'm born in Newark, young parents. But I went to school in East Orange. So, you know, when they graduated from high school, we moved to East Orange, but my family was still in Newark. So I spent my weeks in East Orange and my weekends in Newark. So, you know, just an Essex County dude. But, you know, back when we were coming up, it was a different time. We were outside kids. We stayed outside all the time. So you learn a lot of different things. Oh, let me give you a correction too. I graduated in '88. I'm younger than y'all, man.
Oh,
I'm
word? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I'm younger than y'all. I just wanted to correct
Okay,
you
you was
on that.
almost dope. You was almost fresh. My bad.
Yeah, y'all got me by yeah. All y'all got me by
Okay. Class of '88.
You're still older than me, Marques. I'm 89, so you still.
Bro, I hear you. Everyone count right now. You know what I mean? We take everyone we could get. You know what I'm saying? But now, grew up in East Orange. A regular kid, regular childhood. Didn't know about basketball, but I just played basketball. I played all the different sports. You know, we played whatever. Sport was in season at the time. I was fortunate to live across the street from Sable Park. And that's kind of how all the different sports and activities came together. I really never played no organized sports until I was actually in high school. So my parents was strictly about school growing up. They didn't have anybody in front of us or saw anybody who used sports to further themselves. So that was something that was never really brought up in my household. It's just like you got to go to school, you got to get good grades. So that's how that was. And from there, when I got to high school, I started playing basketball kind of for all the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? Just for the girls. So you start playing ball. You say, well, I can't be like this, like these guys that I hang with over here. I can't go all the way with that. So I see this guy. What he do? He play basketball. For real? That's what he's doing. He's playing ball. I think I can do that. So I started playing ball, and it was crazy because my first year was real discouraging. I never really been on a team before. They didn't have a freshman team, but I had to try out for JV. I didn't really, my parents wasn't into it like that, so I didn't have nobody like they do today with the parents coming to talk and say about my kid not playing or nothing like that. So I had to sit it out, tough it out. And I had an uncle that used to come and follow me. But from there, that next year, my teammates was like, yo, he need to be playing. So, and like instantly, that summer, that my sophomore year, we went to the state championship, lost in the finals. I did a lot of things that changed my life that summer. I went to a camp called 5 Star, and I was fortunate to win MVP there. And then that same summer, I joined the Newark Rams, and that literally changed everything in my life. After that senior game, that state championship game, St. Peter's gave me my first offer to a college. After that summer, I had like 30 offers coming from pretty much every mid-major and a few, top teams. So it changed literally overnight. The fortunate thing for me was my parents always made sure I had good grades, so that was never an issue. So I was able to be seriously taken right from the jump. So
wow, it's crazy. Like I always put you back with the Cougars.
Bro, I was just in the park.
I remember walking down Springfield Avenue, going to practice, and you walking with me.
I probably did that.
I remember this particular day like it was yesterday.
Probably did that. Hot words, Mom. But I never did anything until I got to Scott.
Wow, that's crazy.
But all we did was play sports. That's all we did. I used to think you had to pay money to have like the equipment and stuff like that. So I didn't even want to ask my parents. My parents wasn't with that.
Hand-me-down helmet, hand-me-down shoulder pads, hand-me-down.
I had nobody else in my family doing sports, and I knew my parents wasn't buying no equipment, so I was just like, well, what else we going to do? So I just played football on the weekend when we ain't got no, or, you know, when I got somebody else's equipment on. But that's how that was. I never did no organized sports until I got the Clipper Scott, bro.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Because you know, you became such an athletic, you know, like your
it's
basketball
crazy.
game was level.
But you got to understand basketball in Essex County at that time. It was a different day. If you went to the park and you played, especially if you wasn't in your own park, you had to be nice to play more than one game. You know, especially you got to win. It was just competitive. It was ball players everywhere, even in your crew. They might not have been ball players on the team, but they knew how to play defense or set a screen or do certain stuff to make your.
I'm following you because you know I remember how we used to tell Wes he couldn't run because you know he was trying to stay on the court and you know
blasphemy.
Oh man!
Just out there lying. That's just crazy.
Now Wes's box out game, he was nice on the post because his box out game, you know, he had that posterior.
Did you play with Mark? Did you play with Mark and Big Mark?
I played with Mark. The first summer I moved from New York to New Jersey when I was 15. Okay. And I did play with Mark when I first got to Jersey. And
he's a jerk, right? He's a jerk, right?
Oh man, he was
my brother. I love that joke.
Listen, Mark was the man, right? Mark was the only dude I knew that could pick up anybody in gym class and play 2-on-4 and win.
He was in Catholic school. He was that dude.
He could just
back
pick up
there,
anybody he wanted and just go get it, you know. And now Mark was a bad man. He was a bad man.
That's my brother. That's my brother. I can tell you, he's seeing us all everywhere together. Me and Mark been around. Been together since like the 6th grade, man. That's my guy right there. Actually, it was funny. His son played for me.
Chill. Not gonna go there yet, because we gotta.
Okay, so I finished telling you.
We gotta get into that, right? We're gonna stay right now. We back in, 88.
Yeah.
Jay Scott,
So my life changed instantly. I'm starting to be highly recruited. I'm in the life. For me, I get to see a dude like Anthony Avon in front of me because now I'm playing AAU ball, but I also see what a college ball player or a college prospect look like. Ala Abdenabi was being recruited at the time. We was playing against him in Bloomfield. He went to Duke. He had McDonald's All-American. Like, I can really see these guys. I'm playing against them. And it kind of like, okay, well, I can compete. So it just kept growing from there. I was recruited. My final two choices was Providence College and Siena College. Providence College, my man Eric Murdoch went there. We both Newark Rams. I knew I had to go somewhere just far enough where you had to call me to go because I couldn't be in Jersey. So Seton Hall and stuff like that was out of the question. We was too social back then. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like you. I couldn't focus. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I wouldn't have been able to do it.
I went to college and majored in club.
I remember exactly. So I wouldn't have been able to do it. So to give myself a chance.
Cliff was in class with me,
So and Mark Brown went to Siena. So, and he went to Siena, and they was like one of the first schools to really recruit me heavy. So it came down to them, but then it was the Big East, and how you gonna say no to the Big East? At that time, it was the best conference. But at that time, it was one of the best conferences out. So I decided to go to Providence. The funny thing is, like, and it goes into why I coach now. Like my freshman year at Clipper Scott, Mr. Times didn't like me because of my crew. The guys I hung with. So he thought I was like, oh man, bro, I'm about.
This is a great story. Coach Tynes didn't like him. We're gonna remember that point.
Right, yeah.
Coach Tynes, legendary coach from East Orange, Clifford J. Scott head coach.
And me and Mr. Tynes is brothers to this day. Like he's a great mentor, friend, and confidant. But it was part of the journey. It was part of life.
Well, how'd you get over that? Like he didn't like you because of who you hung. But what was it that got you over that for him to gain your respect? And I mean, for you to. Whatever.
Like who I'm gonna cry to. My pops ain't care about that. My moms ain't care about that. That was some extra stuff, basketball. Like that wasn't nothing in my house. Like they ain't care about that. That's extra. If it wasn't doing with school or nothing like that, actually the only reason it might have been an issue because I was dressed every day for gym and he gave me a seat And that was the only C I had on my report card, so my parents kind of tripped off of that, but I ain't really say that. But what happened was he just didn't like me. He thought I was like Reg and everybody else. So, and I was to a certain extent, but I got good grades. So he just never would give me a shot. I didn't back then. Talking back to an adult or a coach, it kind of wasn't in the repertoire. You just kind of roll with the punches. So I just took it out on the dudes in practice when we practiced, and eventually it spoke for itself. So let's fast forward that. I go to Providence. I'm recruited by Rick Pitino. He now goes to the New York Knicks. So the head assistant coach now takes over, Gordy Chiesa, my senior year, because I signed my junior year to get the whole recruiting thing over because it got crazy. So I just wanted to play ball and just live. So I signed in the beginning of my junior year. I committed to Providence. So now I go there. Now Gordy's there my senior year, and he goes to the Utah Jazz. So now it's a whole new staff coming in. This guy Rick Barnes. So now I got the regime in front of me, and he's coming in basically with a whole new cast of jokers, and they for real. So it was like it was all over again. I went from being a McDonald's, Nike All-American Top 100 player to sitting the bench again my freshman year, and it was real here because I ain't even big no more. You know what I'm saying? Jokers is like 6'11", 7 feet, 6'9", 6'10", and freakish athletes, and it's like, damn, what you gonna do? And my father, just being how he is and how he moved, he was like, I was like, I want to go to Siena. I want to transfer. He was like, nah, not going to happen. If you nice, then you'll figure this out. What's going to be the difference if you go to Siena? Like, you still got to take yourself. I use that to this day. No matter where you go, you still got to take yourself. And I had to sit on that because what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? And coming from where we come from, we just can't be regular. So I just couldn't be a dude on the team. So I worked my behind off, man. And it worked out because now I don't have to have the outstanding numbers. I just got to be really good because I'm in the Big E, and it makes a difference. Where if I go to a lesser school, I got to average 20 points, 10, 15 rebounds. It's a different thing. But the challenge was in front of me is two jukers that just went to the Final Four. Marty Conlon, he played 13 years in the NBA. Abdul Shamsuddin, first round. He's 7 foot. Marty 6'11". Ab 7 feet. Supersonic, drafted by the Seattle Supersonics back then, played a bunch of years in France. This is in front of me, plus other two guys that played overseas. And now behind me, I got Dickie Simpkins, who played 5 years with Mike, got 6 rings. I got 15 pick of the Bulls. Mike Smith, 15 pick in Sacramento, 16 pick of the Sacramento Kings, same draft, and Troy Brown, last pick of the first round for the Atlanta Hawks. And the coaches recruited them. This coaching staff, these are their boys. This is how they go and get their money. So me and Marv is the only two jokers kind of like in no man's land. And Marvin was Mr. Connecticut and everything like that. And basically, from what I did the first time, I learned how to do it the second time because I ain't had no choice and I just couldn't be on the team. I just really couldn't be on the team. And the things about Jersey, toughness, the being able to fight through a coach that, working because this coach making $500,000 and $700,000. He's not letting no kid mess up his life. So you got to learn how to conform and use your talents to whatever the system that you are in, or they're going to find somebody else to do it. And he found literally 8 jokers in my time span to do it. And I had to find a way to make a way, and I was able to do that. But it prepared me for being able to have a professional career. You know what I mean? So if y'all got any questions,
Yeah, before we move to the Procreate, I know you guys got to have some questions for the brother.
I remember how dope Providence was back in the day. So you played with Billy Donovan, right?
Nah, he's way before me. I'm with me and Eric Murdoch the same. Yeah, me and Eric Murdoch is together. Eric is like a year ahead of me.
Eric is a year. Yeah, Eric is 87.
Yeah, 87. So Eric was a senior when Billy was there.
So Eric played with who's the other point guard they had? The little smallish guard. Carlton Screen. Yes, I was screening Murdoch.
Yes,
listen,
Murdoch.
Screen and Murdoch made it to our gym at Rutgers. I went to Rutgers, and we would call out Screening Murdoch, like we played basketball. He's like, yo, Screening Murdoch, like because the NCAA tournament was starting. So those were the guys. So nah.
Nah, me and E, we still tight. We just went to the Big East tournament last week. We go every year together, so we do that every year. So yeah, that's my guy. But but all this stuff, the things you learn from this kind of repeats itself, and that's kind of what's missing and what's going on with our kids today. So, that's the type of stuff I try to fill in the blanks with when I try to coach these kids now, because you really can't pick your, if you're a ball player, right? You say you're nice, then you should be able to take your show on the road. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to take your skill set and go anywhere. And be able to perform that skill set, and before that game is over, you should have had an impact on that game with your skill set. Because you got to remember, if you on a team and you going to try out, and there's 16 guys trying out, ain't nobody gonna pass you the ball, so you can dribble it 5-6 times and get your game off. Everybody trying. It might only be 2 spots available. So how do you make yourself accessible to this coach? What do you make them say? We need these 2 guys, because if there's only 2 spots and there's 15 guys, they got a crew. How do you impact that crew? It ain't gonna be by scoring, because they got jokers that's scoring. And even if you as nice as this joker's committed to this joker. They ain't messing with that. He got an ego. You know what I'm saying? They ain't messing with that, so they ain't gonna have nobody competing with him. So you got to figure out what's gonna work at. The first guy always caught in camp was the guy that was kicking behind in the 5-on-5, scoring all the points. He was always the first joker sent home. Always.
Wow, that's crazy. Like, as I'm listening to you talk, and looking at your experiences from high school to college, comparing the two, right? And then you saying that you learn lessons here that are applicable here, but not just in the the game of basketball, in the game of life. These are life lessons.
Yes.
And then how to translate that conversation of basketball into life lessons. I'm sure that's a big part of how you deal with your players now. And having those real life experiences from high school, college to the professional level, that's most.
You want to know the funny thing about that statement, Hat? That's the 50-year-old in us talking. That's us being old talking. Kids don't care about that. My kids don't care about that. I'm just dad. You know what I'm saying? Even if they done been at every Big East tournament, they have the people they call uncles is bona fide pros or former pros or they don't care about none of that.
Wow,
it's crazy. The disconnect, and because they don't go through nothing. We provide better lives for them. We provide better opportunities for them. So they don't. That just becomes a normal. You sit there and say, "Ooh, I wish I had a trainer could help me work on my game when I was coming up. I would have been nice." Man, they had a trainer since they've been playing ball. It ain't nothing to them. It's part of what they do. Wow. So they're not getting out of it what you would have got out of it, because they're not doing it from the same perspective.
Yeah, but like certain things are just never change.
Different world. Yeah, and that's the key. That's the thing. The world don't change.
Yeah,
the game don't change.
Game don't change.
You just water yourself out of it.
You could be young, but at least take the jewel and put it in your pocket and use it for later. That's it. You ain't gotta. I guess you young, but at least hear it.
They're relevant to a person who don't know nothing. They're relevant to a person who just be around them and talk basketball and maybe a little older and dress cool and bottom and that's who they'll lead. They'll follow that. Man, and that's what you compete with, because and that's what you got to compete with. And I don't do that. I'm not doing that.
Okay. So let's go back. Talk about the transition from college to the pro game and what that was like.
So in each one of these things, it was always somebody that I could touch that was actually doing it. So in high school, it was E, it was Evan, it was Murdoch. It was Marques. We all on the same AAU team. I'm the young guy on 18. And so I'm seeing what recruitment looked like. I'm seeing how they got to perform. So now I get to college and I see the same thing again. So now you got the pros coming back. Otis Thorpe come back every summer. You work out with him. I meet Mark Bryant. I work out with him. Now I see what pros look like. And it's amazing when you see something and then you get to mess around with it a little bit. You see how close you are to it. It makes it a reality. and it makes it real, and it gives you the opportunity to actually achieve it and do the things that's going to help you achieve it. And that's another thing that's missing. Like, they don't see somebody that they could touch. It's somebody that maybe 10 years removed, 5 years removed. Their parents tell them about them, or maybe they was really good at a certain level, but not a lot of them. Huh?
We need football fields. We need that.
I say in Essex County,
what's happening right now is StreamYard has our signal screwed up with somebody else's. This was happening before you came on.
Okay.
We can, for some reason, we can hear somebody somewhere else talking. I don't know if they can hear us, but it's, I don't know what StreamYard is. StreamYard is wilding out right now, so that's what that was.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So like I said, so when I got to college, I seen people ahead of me. So I knew what it takes. And being at Providence, like, there's no pro teams in Rhode Island. There's nothing else but Providence basketball. See, like in Jersey, Seton Hall will never get the love we got because there's just so many things to compete with in Jersey. Like, it's so, even though it's not like a college, like Providence is a college state. So we have a lot of relationships, a lot of stuff. So since I was a freshman, I was going to the Boston Celtics NBA camp and working. And so in doing that, I'm doing drills. I'm playing 5-on-5. I'm in the 3-on-3s, and then I got to do a little work afterwards. But me, Chris Smith, Harper Williams, we did that for like 3 years straight. So when you get a chance to taste and see stuff, and then E blows up the year before, it's like, I gotta do this. That's the Jersey. You gotta do this. I can't be in the Mint and everybody else coming home. You can't be at the Peppermint, everybody else coming home. And it's over for me. Can't do that. Can't be that. And God willing, being in that circuit, being in that venue, it put me in the track. And you know how it is. The hardest thing about being a pro is getting your foot in the door.
Yeah.
So I was able to go to Portsmouth and have a good showing. I was able to go to Chicago and have a good showing, but I didn't get drafted. So right after the draft, the coach Gordy Chiesa, who was the coach that recruited me with Rick Pitino, was now with the Utah Jazz, and he's probably the reason Eric Murdoch got drafted by the Utah Jazz. So Eric was drafted by the Jazz, and in turn, they watched me for a whole year. So the moment the draft was over and I didn't get drafted, I got a call from them, and I got a call from the Boston Celtics inviting me to camp. So now you in the life. You in the life now. You in the game. So now you go. I choose to go to Utah, and it was an amazing experience. They knew me from Eric, and they treated me like I had already been there. And I was basically, I did what I was supposed to do. And from not knowing and being a first generation child, I made decisions just on not having all the information, and I think that changed the direction, but I still had a great direction, so I don't really harp on it. So at the end of this camp, Utah offers me a contract to come back to vet camp, but it's not a guaranteed contract. Now I'm broke. I got 4 offers overseas for some real money. So it's like, yo, what you gonna do? So if I'm gonna take this off overseas, I gotta leave in like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Vet camp don't come to October. So I got to wait till October to start getting, to even think about getting cheese. So I'm not thinking. And then I had my agent and other people, not knowing like, oh, what if you don't make the team? Go ahead and get this solid, So I did that. In doing that, I made one of the biggest professional decisions that probably changed the direction of my professional career. Even though I had a good one, it probably would have been. I know it would have been a lot different. Had I stayed, Stephen Howard would have never been there. And he wound up playing 2 years and going to a championship and playing against Jordan and then starting his European and other career on a whole nother tier because he done had that NBA experience. So I come back the next year and I have another good camp, but he's ahead of me because he was there for a year. It just gave me the platform to make my way to say, you know what, I'm gonna do what they call the G League now, which is the CBA. And because I was drafted by the Grand Rapids Marques, but I never played because I went overseas. And I wound up getting newcomer of the year, making first team all CBA or whatever, and wound up, Man, I got stories for days with that. But anyway, I wound up the next year being with the Minnesota Timberwolves, so it worked out.
Yeah, like this is a very interesting conversation in that, like the I don't say the hoops you got to jump through, right?
Oh, bro,
but like everybody doesn't get drafted. Everybody have this glorious, but there's decisions you make along the way. There's politics involved. It's not just about your ball skill.
That's why you got to be mentally tough, because basketball is the sugar on the top. It's the icing on the cake. That's the fun part. Everything else comes with this lifestyle. So let me just rewind you to tell you how things can happen. NBA, I was first team All CBA. I was newcomer of the year. We went far in the playoffs and all that. And Isaiah Thomas and his brother Zeke came to every one of my games. Larry Bird was now with the Celtics at the time before he went to Indiana. Every one of my games, because I know Larry a little bit better because of whatchamacallit, but he's still Mr. Bird to me. But he talking to me. I got these jokers talking to me like they know me, and they bidding for me because of what I just did. I went to the Chicago pre-draft camp. We had amazing work. My team was incredible. We tore it up. So I was like in the dream. I got 3. I went to Seattle, Boston, and Minnesota. And Boston, Seattle, and Minnesota. So in Toronto, I really thought I was going to be in Toronto with Isaiah Thomas and Boston. I had a terrible camp in Minnesota. Seattle flew me out there for a day, killed me, and put me right back on the plane the same night. I mean, killed me. I was cramping up all on the plane and everything. So now I got one team saying, we want you to come to vet camp. We'll guarantee you this. I got another team saying, I want you to come to vet camp. We'll guarantee you that. And then the lockout comes. The lockout come, and after the end of the lockout, the only thing standing was Minnesota. And I only got Minnesota because Flip Sanders the year before coached in the CBA, and he really tried to punk me. He put his dude Adrian Caldwell in the game, and the dude like basically just punched me in my face. I swelled up. I was on a team with this guy named Stevie Thompson from Syracuse and Stephen Headache Smith from Arizona State. That was my one of my road dogs. I proceeded to go nuts like we was playing in the hole for like 35 and just screaming and yelling and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And we kicked their behind. And from that point, that's how I got my job in Minnesota, because I was the worst camp I ever had in my life. It was a different situation in Utah. Utah was structured. Everybody knew exactly what you was going to do. And if you ever look at Utah players, they always have great situations. And then it's time to re-up and they go somewhere else, and you don't really hear about them like that no more. But that's because the structure in Utah was set up and put in a situation where you knew exactly what you had to do, how you had to do it, and you get great in that situation. I went to Minnesota, and this just was a bunch of talented jokers, man. they just go hoop, and that wasn't my game. You hung out with me in Minnesota?
Yeah. You came out there and did a gig, and you took care of us. Thank you. Yeah, man.
No doubt. But Minnesota is different. It's two different types of styles, two different types of worlds.
Wow. Okay, so you're on the professional level. How long did you play in the league?
2 years. But then I did 11 and a half years in Europe. So I had an amazing life. Right.
What cities in Europe?
I was in Italy for 5, and I was in Spain for 2. I was in France for like 3. But then I played like in Turkey for a year. I played in the Philippines in the summertime. I played in Venezuela. I played in Puerto Rico. I played in Brazil. Me and Sho played together 2 times. And me and Sho had the blessing of playing in France together and playing in Brazil together for a couple of years. So, I had some amazing experiences from that. My parents and my family got to see the world for free. Some stuff that I would have never did, man. You just never know where your life going to take you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, all right, before we go further, because it's something I want to put up, I want you to break down. Our second guest is in the queue. I just want to bring him in, have him hang out with us, But feel free to stay. Don't go nowhere. We got more conversation with you. But I'm gonna bring in Benny Boone. What up, Benny?
Yo, what up? What's the deal?
How you doing, bro?
Yeah,
What's
cool,
up,
cool. Yeah, you hopped in the queue a little early. I thought you was gonna be
did.
more close to 8. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
I was
all
trying
good.
to, you know,
His
my
family and friends here. I want you to
I
meet
ain't tech
Marques
savvy.
Bragg.
How you doing,
Bragg.
beloved?
What's up, bro?
How you doing, sir?
How you doing? You good?
This is the crew. I got Wes right here, old
What up,
friend.
Wes? All
Dr.
right.
What's up, Benny?
What up?
And you got Cliff, aka the Zatch Master.
What up, Benny?
What up? What up?
How you doing, man?
Good,
Yeah, you
man.
got
Good.
Eagles jersey on. I see you. I see you.
Huh?
I see you got that Eagles jersey on. I see.
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I had to represent. You see,
I
as
see
mad
you.
as sports, you know, I had to, you know, I had to do it.
Yeah. So the homie Marques, you know, he and I go back like he's telling me to like 7 years old, 6, 7
Wow.
years old. I thought it was like 11, 12 years old, and he just corrected me. And the brother has a tremendous career in basketball, played in the pros. He played at Providence on the Big East when the Big East was still, you know, that thing. And now he's the head coach at Newark Tech in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I was asking him about the transition from, you know, the professional career, now working with young folks, coaching, and what have you. And I was hoping he could, just talk about that transition in between years.
So after pro ball, I was burnt out. I didn't want to do anything with basketball because the business just, you know how it is when you're in a business that's a hard grind and you're self-employed. It gets tiresome. So I didn't want to do it. But then my man Mark became the head coach at NJCU, so he forced me to join his staff. And then I was just saying it was a disparity, like the games wasn't the same, the quality of basketball wasn't the same, and the attitudes wasn't the same. And then I'm looking at the people that's leading them, and it's the people that that watched you or watched us when we was coming up, and they're giving the wrong message to the kids. So I said, you know what, before I start trying to pay all this money, I have 3 sons. And I was like, you know what, before I start thinking about, I want to, find me a coaching situation in high school. That's right. I just need a good school, somewhere that's safe. I tried to do East Orange, but they didn't want to do it. So but I wound up going to Newark Tech. It's a great academic school, first and foremost. Our kids do really well academically going to school. Actually, my oldest son, I'm just giving him a quick shout out. My oldest son, he's on a scholarship to Morehouse, and at Morehouse he's on the Bonner scholarship. He decided not to play basketball, so he did it the other way. He just got his first internship with Microsoft, so he's doing his thing. He's thriving as a sophomore.
Congratulations!
Happy for him. But thank you. But he tells me all the time the same thing we used to talk about with his basketball is the same principles he got to do to keep doing what he's doing in the other world. So because the stuff kind of don't change. So at Newark Tech, it was an easy sell, but at first it was hard because I don't want to recruit kids. I don't want to give you the false impression of what this thing is and what it can do for you. And if you believe, the false narratives, you're gonna ruin yourself before you get started. First of all, like I said, the business is hard enough. So once you get, if you're fortunate enough to get to college, you got to deal with the business immediately. This coach is making $500,000. He's not letting you mess up, and his staff is everybody's making 6 digits. You're not going to mess up. Your feelings do not matter. All that stuff you have to learn how to utilize and say, okay, this is where I decided to go. These are my talents, and how do I use my talents in the system? Because nobody is going to set it up for you to go out there and do that. So if you start teaching this kid in the 8th grade because he's the best 8th grader among some kids that's not really that good, that the game is revolving around you, then you get a false impression of where you are and how this game is going to be played for you. So that's why you never really get a chance. That's why these kids don't get an opportunity to see somebody in front of them, because there is nobody in front of them to say, oh, wow, this is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. This is what, oh, okay, I understand. They don't have that because they're not being, and it's not about skills. It's not about how fast you are, how high you could jump. It's about your mindset. It's about your attitude, and it's about your ability to be able to work under duress. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things that we fail in right now, especially in the urban areas of Essex County. Now, when you go further south, the culture may be a little bit different. But here, it's not preparing our kids properly. So that's why I decided to start coaching. Now, That's an anomaly now. So I'm a rare, no matter what my resume is, no matter what you seen your whole life growing up, no matter what you told your kids about me, once I start telling your kid, nah, you got to run harder, that's not, his feelings matter. I don't know what I'm talking about. But this other guy who don't is telling him what he wanted to hear. He knows what he's talking about. And that's where this disparity happened. So I've been at Newark Tech for 6 years. This is my 6th season. This is the first time I was able to coach a team. The years before, I'm just teaching them how to perform as players. Forget just the basketball, making a layup under the rest, making a layup when you're tired, just playing when the call's not going away. Everything else that don't got nothing to do with basketball is what they were focusing on. So what I try to tell the young kids is, if your game is based on offense, what's going to happen when you off? There's only a few Kobe Bryants. There's only a few people that are going to take his skill set, and no matter where you set them in this world, going to give you 50. So because you give these kids 50, none of these kids are going to be where you say you want to be, that doesn't mean you're good. That just means you're the best around them. So now with that, you take that mindset like you are Kobe Bryant and think this is how the game's supposed to be played. And that's not. So now when you get in a situation where you have demands, your feelings is hurt, it's not going your way, the plays are stupid, nothing's right. Even though you was the person that Jay's son needed to see and be around to understand what it was to help their kid get to the next level. Wow. So it's a hard dilemma, but if you're able to balance, what we did was we didn't go after any kids that were highly recruited, that people wanted. I had my kids that played with my sons, and they was able, and they played AAU with them for like 2 years, and they decided to stay together, the core group. Same parents, like-minded, same attitude, same understanding, and they was able to win. We had a phenomenal year this year, man. We won the states, and my team was freshmen and sophomores, only because we had a little bit of talent, and they listened.
All right, so why are you there?
Why am I there?
No. While we're there.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been like that in years in Newark Tech. That was to get us to the sectionals right there. That was the state final, state sectional final. Oh, this is crazy. That's crazy. That's it, bro. Game over.
Yes, sir, Coach. Man. What did we just witness?
That was our state finals at home against Hoboken. Actually, I as a player, I never won state championship, so my sons got one. So let me back up. My team is mostly freshmen and sophomores. Everybody on my team is some type of family. So Mark Brown, his son is my point guard. He's a senior this year. So Mark didn't play JV for 2 years at Columbia, and you know how Mark is. So he came to us and started as a junior after not playing, not even on JV, because they was playing. It just didn't work out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mike Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Boyd is
Yeah.
from Orange. He went to West Virginia.
Orange, yeah.
Amazing basketball player. He got a cousin
Amazing.
named Corey Boyd who drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Big sports family from Orange. They got his nephew is playing for me. He's a freshman. He averaged 18 and 10 this year. Has no idea what he's doing. It's going to be a monster. And but these are kids. Nobody wanted these kids, and they didn't want to come with me because I don't really do the sillies. I don't yell at the kids. I just coach the kids. And then I got my twins. My own kids is on the team too as well. And then, like I said, everybody is either a friend or somebody that we knew and was able to make the situation work. And it works. You don't gotta have the highly recruited players, because those are the kids that think they're bringing something to the program more than what y'all could do for each other. And it's hard to coach a kid like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you pay a joker $2 million and then you say, I'm gonna tell you what to do now. You can't do it. He's the smartest person he knows. You know what I'm saying? He ain't listening to nobody. So forget what you're talking about. And it's the same thing with these kids. And you haven't achieved nothing yet. But believe me, there's a kid in Wyoming, there's a kid in South Dakota, there's a kid somewhere else that's doing the stuff that we talk about that y'all not doing no more. And I just proved it with some 14 and 15-year-olds who bought in at 50%. At 50%. Because they didn't know. They didn't have nobody to look ahead and say, oh, that's what a varsity player look like. Oh, that's how you're supposed to conduct yourself. They still bringing that AAU, my kids included, because that's the culture into that. So those are the things, that's the challenge that I'm trying to work through right now. I don't think I got the magic potion of it, but I think we're moving slowly in the right direction.
Right. So before we shift gears, I want to make sure Wes, Coach E, Cliff, any questions for my man? Any comments?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, congrats, Marques, on winning the state championship. That's a wonderful feeling. I coached at St. Anthony's for 10 years, so I got a few of them things.
I know that's right. I'm trying to catch up now. I ain't gonna say catch up, just get a couple.
Yeah, just get a couple, man. Also, I was a freshman in high school when we beat Clifford Scott in the state championship game in Ewing. I remember that as well. But what you've been saying about coaching and how integral it is to just be able to coach the kids is so phenomenal. I actually, for years coached boys. This year I decided to coach girls because I just wanted to be able to coach the kids and not deal with the entitlement and not deal with the struggle of fighting to get them to understand, I know the path you need to take, and I'm not going to fight with you to tell you about something to help you and better your life and your situation. And I found that right now it's easier to get that message across to young ladies. I may go back to the boys' side, but right now it's like, and during my summers, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
I had to learn it. I had to select the parents that I was going to do it with, and we had been together on another level just as parents to get them to understand where I was coming from. And that's the only reason I believe you got to start young, man, because you get them in high school, it's too late. It's too late. The parents is messed up. They're thinking they're going to college. They're thinking they got this and they got that, and they have no idea. And why would I? What do I benefit from your success? Nothing, man. I buy my own ticket to your game if you become great. I don't need that. So I'm just trying to give you the opportunity to say, look, man, I just flew my parents here, or I just did this, or I just did that. Because you wouldn't have been able to tell me I was going to do that when I was in high school. I wish somebody would have gave me a blueprint. I'm giving you a blueprint. But
So I applaud you for what you're doing, especially in Newark and at a school like Newark Tech. I know how difficult that is as well.
Oh, let me be clear. Newark Tech is not a Newark public school. It's an Essex County.
It's Essex County. That's right.
So we have 3 schools in our district: West Caldwell Tech, the new Donald Payne School, and us. All of our buildings are state of the art. All our buildings have top notch. top-notch facilities. It is we haven't had a fight in 6 years.
Oh, wow.
If you push each other, you're gonna probably get returned to district. So you get a chance to be the type of kids you want to be. You don't have to worry about certain type of impressions. Like my son, my oldest son, he's a complete nerd, and he was happy in being a nerd, and all his little nerd friends had a great time, and they going to school and they love their school, and that's what high school should be. So you get a chance to thrive no matter what your personality set is. Because all the kids on my team, they're not like the alpha kids. They don't have no Haleems on their team. They don't have no nuts on their team. You understand what I'm saying? They don't have those kind of kids. So
speaking of that, I got Peanut actually in the chat. Jamal Williamson, yeah, he's in the building.
My God.
Yeah.
No, that's very important for kids to be able to be kids, you know, and not have to be something else. Hey, look, and I'm sure we'll get to this later on in the pod, but that's what John Morant's going through right now.
Yeah.
How you get somebody 20 million and tell you listen to you? How your father going to tell you something now? You paying him. So it's like, you know, it's hard. You got to be even if you come from a certain type of house, it's just hard. It's hard to do that. So what I try to do is not only show them, like tell them, but I try to show them. I bring different people. Like I said, I go to the Big East tournament. So I took my guy to the Big East tournament, my kids to the Big East tournament to see. But then they get to see me in my world because they just know me as Dean. They just know me. I'm 30 years removed, and it's still, you know what I'm saying? We still courtside. They still doing it how, you know, they still take care of it. So that makes it real again. That gives me more, and we won when we wasn't supposed to win. So I'm hoping that it gives me more leverage to get 75% of their focus. If they do that, the sky's the limit for them kids. The sky's the limit for them because they all.
I applaud you, brother. I applaud you, brother, for coming back.
Because you setting the foundation, and everybody that comes up after them gonna follow that precedent, and you showing them a roadmap, and they're able to touch them and see how it's done and replicate that, and that's how it should be done.
But I will tell you this, bro. I have a great administration.
I applaud you using the example of there's only one Kobe Bryant twice.
Yes,
I didn't make note of that. You know.
All right, so that's a whole other conversation. Coach Bragg, that's a whole other conversation.
Oh, okay. I got you. Something with that. I got you.
Yeah. I heard it twice though. I heard it twice. I was like, that's he's from my age group. I get it.
I'm MJ too though. I'm MJ all day.
I'm MJ too. Me too.
You saying all the right names, Marques.
Yeah, you are too. You say every right name. Every right name.
That's it. I was fans of them. It was a few that I was fans of, and I was one of the few that I was fans of.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Real recognize real.
Yeah, that's all. You just want to point that out.
Oh my God, you gotta give him ammunition galore right now. That's a whole other conversation. So
that's why we have guests. That's why we have guests on this show. That's it.
Break it up. Break it up. So this is a friends and family show in the sense that, you know, we like to have friends and family. Last week was our 100th episode.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, this week is 101. You know what I mean? So we want to continue the spirit of friends and family. And we got more family in the building, namely Benny Boom, my bro.
Yes, sir.
Marques, don't go nowhere. If you can stay.
No, I'm here. Definitely.
I just want to get my guy Benny Boom. You know, Benny, old friend of mine, known his brother since the early 90s on some MC shit, you know, which is a whole nother shit. And then he takes the baton of filmmaking and just takes it to levels unimaginable. And that said, Benny, won't you hop in, introduce yourself, and then we'll get to our topic, which is boxing.
Yeah, what's up, man? Hawk said it. You know, this is my brother. It's so many. When you say family, there's family that you know that you're born into, and then there's family that you create and collect along your journey. And Hakeem, and I was the only child. You know, I have a stepsister. My father got married, but as far as boy, you know, it was just me, and you know, grew up in Philly and had to come up, you know, living, and you get in a fight with one kid, and then you got to fight his brother, and it's like, well, I'm not mad at him. Like, why I gotta fight? Because he got a brother that's a year older. We got, you know, y'all know, y'all from Newark and East Orange and stuff, so you know what it is.
Yeah.
So, interestingly enough, Philadelphia and y'all know, like, is a very like boxing centered city. And so in the early 80s, everybody wanted to be Ray Leonard or Ali or something like that. So when, I had caught wind of a boxer named Ray Boom Boom Mancini, and he killed a Korean boxer named Dooku Kim in the ring. And in my sort of 13-year-old warped sense of understanding, like I equated that with the being baddest. And so like he sort of eclipsed Ali and Ray Leonard and all those for me, because in my mind as a teenager, as a pubescent, adolescent, I'm thinking that equated to being badder, right? Which is a terrible thing in and of itself. So I adopted that moniker of Benny Boom Boom and used that when I was rapping and all this stuff. So that has been around with me for a really long time, and that's where Benny Boom, and I cut one of the booms off, and it just became Benny Boom, and that's kind of where it comes from. So the name comes from Ray Mancini, and just growing up in Philly and just being a fan, sitting around with my uncles and watching the fights and all of those things, So that's kind of what, and then me and Hawk wound up becoming best friends and roommates, and we would have the fights and everybody come over and watch the HBO. We just had, great times, you know what I mean? Centered around that sport that we all love,
Now, you say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you is because this came up.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Damn.
You had the holy feeling, Hassim Rahman.
He said that was from a headbutt, right? Didn't he say that?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I can't remember. I thought they determined that was from a headbutt.
Right. Whew. That's one of those boxing matches we would host at the crib back in the day.
Yeah.
So that came up, and the whole conversation of boxing came up, and I was like, yo, Benny, I got to get Benny on the show.
Yeah.
Because we don't really do, much many conversations in the way of boxing. So I was like, this would be a good opportunity to kind of add that into our dialogue.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. That is the headbutt that caused it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't that right?
No, I think it was that headbutt. But it's interesting. It's like, that sport, as a fan of the sport, it's like it's sort of gone the way of what society has become. Like, it's what's the kid's name? The kid, the white kid. Jake Paul. So he doesn't have a pedigree of coming up as a teenager, going into fights and amateur boxing and amateur USA. Like, he doesn't have any of that yet, and still he's the biggest draw, right? And so it's I'm sure as if I was an athlete or a boxer, it has to be insulting. And you can't knock his hustle. But it just shows where the culture is right now. And I'm not talking about black culture. I'm just talking about culture in general. Nobody wants to put in the work. They just want the reward, right? It's like what you was talking about. It's like what you were talking about. We like black men of a certain age, we've been through so much, especially our age group. We were the promise, because our parents, most of them came from the South or from, the West Indies or something, and came over here, and we were the promise. And so we had the work instilled in us. Some of us did it and some of us didn't. But this next generation, they don't want to do any of the work. So now you see the sport has adapted that. You got guys like Floyd Mayweather. They got video of Floyd, man. He's 8 years old in the backyard fight. Like, you can't dispute those things. Oscar De La Hoya was a little kid. Right? These guys really put in the work. But the people that they have attached themselves to in terms of their marketing and branding and putting them in their company, they have fast-tracked them because, the industry and television is so hungry for the next Floyd or the next Oscar or the next Mike Tyson.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the guy that may not be ready is put in so fast just to satisfy what we want to see, and it's just the sport is just not the same. It doesn't.
I don't really follow the Jake Paul movement too closely. Definitely got to salute his showmanship and his
the hustle and showmanship,
his promotion coming off of YouTube, like that whole. You got to respect that part of it. But how real is the boxing part of it? Because there's like rumors that it's staged. You know, Jokers is on the take. You know,
well, I would say like the last one when he fought the Brazilian cat. You know, that guy's 50 years old. He got nothing to lose. All he has to gain is a paycheck. He know he wasn't gonna get hurt. But this kid that he just fought, Tyson Fury's brother, is really trying to create a career for himself. So he gave him all he could handle. And he is a subpar fighter. You understand what I'm saying? So you see those things. He fought Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson's not a boxer. He's a basketball player.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's not exciting. You know, my son watched. He's like, "Yo, you know Jake Paul's fighting tonight." And I'm like, "I know." He's 15. He wants to do it. I'm like, "All right." So I'm watching it with him, and I'm just like, "Okay, this ain't boxing. You know, this ain't it."
Now you got a chance to see, you know, the art form up close as a filmmaker, right? You had some projects with Roy Jones. I
did it. Yeah, with Big.
Can you share any of that with us? Like,
that was cool. It was a reality show we did in Connecticut at Foxwoods in 2014. I think it was 2014. And the idea was sort of like a pilot show that we were trying to get off the ground. But we had Big Floyd was a trainer, Shane Mosley, Roy Jones, you know, John Scully, Iceman John Scully. They were all the trainers, and Roy was the host of the show. And it was just real interesting to see these cats at various stages of their career. They were all professionals coming in into this reality show to try to, you know, make a name for themselves. And I applaud all those guys because, you know, it was freezing up there. It was snowing. We did it in the wintertime in January. It seemed like it snowed every day up there in Connecticut. And these guys were doing road work in the cold and all this stuff. So I give these guys credit. And, you know, and I kind of saw it firsthand. We was with them for like a month while we filmed the show. And then I got a lot of time with Big Floyd, with Floyd Sr. and really just watch this guy and listen to him, like how he was training his fighters and stuff, man. And the science behind it, it's not go out and beat somebody up. It is a real science. And he is a true scientist when it comes to it. I mean, he really is. And so that, you know, that was an enjoyable experience to be able to do that with this guy.
So when you talk about the science of boxing, it's called the sweet science.
Sweet science, right?
Sweet science, yeah. And then you look at MMA, you look at that whole UFC, Ultimate Fighting. Like, what is the rubber meet the road in terms of, you know, this skill thing here versus other techniques like.
Well, I think the thing is it's unfair to try to compare those two because they're completely different sports. They require different things. I know it looks the same on the surface, but I don't think it's the same when you can use your feet, when you can grab, when you can choke, when you can get a man down and punch him in the face while he's down.
I know it's all entertainment. It's all you know showmanship is talk. What's the Floyd fought the
he fought Logan Paul. He fought the brother. Conor McGregor. Yeah.
Conor McGregor, right? Yeah. And like how Conor McGregor, but you know, I don't know if he's the best from that. You know,
he was when he fought
competition in the ring against Floyd.
No, when he fought Floyd, he was the best UFC fighter at that weight class.
Time?
At the time that could fight Floyd, and he gave Floyd. I mean, he looked pretty decent against Floyd, but Floyd, again, he's smart, and so I think what he did was he knew he was never going to get tired. I've never seen Floyd Mayweather tired in a fight ever, so he knew this guy's, you know, he only going to get 20 minutes strong. If he could last that 20 minutes on minute 21, he going at him. So that's kind of what he did, right? So, but. Back to the question, though, I just don't think you can really you can't really compare the two because they require a different set of skills. And so the eye is looking at it as a combat sport. It is a combat sport, but you wouldn't compare judo and taekwondo. Like they're two different things. Or you wouldn't compare taekwondo and wrestling, you know what I mean? And say, oh, you know, this guy's better than him. It's a hard thing to do. That's why when you see guys come from UFC into boxing, they don't do so well because it's not, you know, that's not their forte. You know what I mean?
Anybody on the panel want to jump in, feel free. Me and the brother can go for like days.
And I want you to post JT's last comment and have Benny respond to what could be blasphemy.
No, I mean, let me see. Pacquiao, Mosley. Man, Floyd and Zab was a good fight. Floyd and Mosley was a great. I remember he hit Floyd.
Yeah, he hit Floyd.
I asked Shane about that fight too. I remember asking him about that, and he's like, man, I thought I had him. It's like I had him. He said, then he grabbed me, and he was like, you know, Pacquiao. I'm just, you know, I just wish that fight would have happened. Yeah,
a lot earlier.
Not earlier. 5 years earlier, at least.
Yeah, 5 years earlier.
I love Pacquiao, man. Everything about that guy, man. Everything is what you see is what you get. You know, just the story about him, man. I just wish that was earlier. And then I hate to see him now thinking about fighting again because, you know, he ran for president, didn't win. Now he's trying to come back into the ring. You never know what's in somebody's personal situation. We don't know if he needs the money or what, you know what I mean, what's going on. But you just hate to see that legacy because there's a guy that got knocked out before and got up and then won a title again. So you got to respect that.
Yep.
You know?
Well, with that being said, what do you feel about Floyd and now how he's just basically doing like what, an amateur circuit?
Yeah.
With all these cats, you know?
I think that I want to say, and this is going back to
keep it going, guys. Keep it going.
He had Tank, he had Tank with him.
Mm-hmm.
When Tank is like the next level of Floyd. I mean, that kid is phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like you just watch him. But he doesn't have him as far as I know. I don't think he really is part of that anymore. And so it's very interesting, right? Like you know, Marques, you transitioned from playing basketball, loving the sport. Like I can't get the sport out of me, so now I got to go and coach. Let me figure out a way to coach and take what I've learned and my ability and place it on somebody else, right? For them to grow and be better than what I am.
Right.
So there's a part of me, as much as I love Floyd, and I think the fighters as well, they realize if I'm with him, I'm not going to be allowed to be better than him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with him, you know what I mean? And it's like,
yep.
And I think you attribute that to those that are the greatest at what they do. Mm-hmm. MJ is the same way. Yeah, I mean, you look at his team. You know, these guys.
Nobody challenging him. Nobody challenging him.
No, you know what I mean. It's like he can't. He's not gonna give you the tools that you need to elevate to the level that he is.
He ain't sharing the secret sauce.
No, he's not doing that. It's like, it's funny because there's been these conversations come up just about my field and how I came in and with Hype and and they like talk about me and Hype and Little X all in the same kind of conversation. But it's like, I came up under Hype. Like Hype is like here for me. You know what I'm saying? Like he laid all the ground where he was the one that took the visual medium of hip hop and R&B and made it surpass rock and roll so that all these artists in the 90s became superstars, right? I mean, I could tell you, there was a point where I had to like stop working with him because I was not going to get the opportunity through him to be great. It just wasn't going to happen because that's just not the cat that he is. You know what I mean? He going to give you everything and you with him and you could soak up game, but he wasn't never the one to say, yo, I got this song I want you to write a treatment to. I'm going to help you get the he never did that for me. And I'm not mad at that. I'm just saying that's just what it was. X did that for me. You know what I mean? But again, me and X were brothers in that scenario, both trying to come up. And then I laid in the cut, even though X is like 7 years younger than me. I took a step back and said, I'm going to be in service to him while he does his thing, knowing that I was going to get it back, and I got it back tenfold. And Hawk was right there to see the whole thing. So that's the thing with Floyd. Like, as great as Floyd is the greatest. He's not going to allow anybody that's in his team or the Mayweather team. It's just, and it's not a knock on him. It's just kind of what it is. MJ ain't going to do it. He's just not. MJ not going. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan is not.
Who's somebody that does that?
LeBron.
I think LeBron does that.
Yeah,
I think LeBron does that.
LeBron.
You know, that that argument, who's the great, the GOAT, LeBron, or thing. It's like, I think they both great in different areas. I think that, you got several guys that still play that talk about how great a teammate LeBron is, but then you got the sports writers that talk bad about him because he didn't take the final shot. Well, he didn't take the final shot a lot of time earlier, not because he was scared. Why? This man was on the cover of magazines at 17 as the coming, like, this is the guy, and this is the only notch I give above Jordan for LeBron. What they promised he was going to do, he did it, and then some. There wasn't no real promise for Jordan. Let's think about that. We all remember when Jordan came in the league. People was like, "Oh my God, that's the good." Jay-Z rapped about it. He was Sam Bowie was number 2, and so that was what what I mean. Olajuwon was in the league at the time. It was like cats that had in his era that came in that was serious. Jordan was dope. Everybody's he's going to be dope. Nobody expected it like they expected with LeBron. And LeBron has proven so far past what he was expected to do. And I just think that LeBron is the type, when you see all the tree of the people that have played with him, I think he's given more of himself to the players and allowed them to take a little piece of them. You know what I mean?
Well, from that point, Coach Bragg, you being in the NBA, what would you say to that?
I agree with a lot of what Benny was saying. I'm sorry. Can you see me, guys?
Yeah, we see.
I agree. Yeah. I was trying to chat. No, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. It's to be a certain level, it takes a certain type of mindset and a certain type of things that help. And it's fragile things, man. It's not the big things that we think about. It's little things, and it's like that all across the board. It's like that in my business. If you come in and you show promise and there's a guy in front of you that's doing his thing, he's not going to open the door. He's only going to let you get but so far. And then from there, you're going to have to buckle up and take the tools that you learn and be able to take the show on the road, bro. That's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you can do.
I mean, we just saw this.
Do you think it's an African American thing, or do you think it's a cultural thing, or you just think it's just how it is?
No, I think it's competitive, because I was going to say to you, Marques, we just saw it with Jim Boeheim, who should have retired years ago, and he did not. First Mike Williams, who's out at Washington now, Mike Hopkins, I'm sorry, should have been the head coach at Syracuse, but he left because he was the coach in waiting. Boeheim kept holding on. Finally he has retired, and Red Autry became the head coach at Syracuse. But it's that same thing of, I'm the guy, I've taught you everything, I know, it all, but I'm not going to step aside so you can get all that shine,
But hold on, Coach. I got to give you some pushback on that, because I'm a big Syracuse fan, and I think that was mostly about him coaching his sons, to be honest with you.
I agree.
That's why I think he held on the last few years.
Right.
I think it was about coaching his boys.
I agree. It was about, I've held on this long, so why not hold on another 4 years?
Right.
But let's think about it. He literally kept holding on to get to that point. That was just another excuse, because he should have retired.
He should have retired before they was because they hadn't because they hadn't been relevant in quite some time after Carmelo. It wasn't
after they left the Big East. Ever since they left the Big East.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I think we see it more in our community, because that's what we're around, and but it definitely is. I think it is a sports thing. And I think it's any A personality.
That's what I'm saying. You got to be an A personality to be successful like that.
I might give you all the sauce, but I'm not going to step aside so you can serve the sauce. You know?
It's the Aaron Rodgers, right?
Now, if you go get it, fine. I don't have no problems with you go get it. That's what they don't mind, go get it, but I'm not gonna help you.
It's funny because it's like when you like to now think about Kobe, and he's passed, but I mean, listen, a lot of players didn't like Kobe Bryant.
Not at all. Yeah.
The players that played with him, players that played against him. Allen Iverson was ready. I mean, that game, him and AI was about, AI is my favorite player. Listen, I will get in full-fledged arguments about Bubba Chuck and just because of what he did, you know what I'm saying? But I just love AI. But, he got into his scrap with Kobe, and Kobe being that personality, like wanting to be so much like Jordan, that he sort of, and I don't know if it was by accident or by habit or watching, just adapted even that part of his personality to his game.
I think Kobe deliberate, man. I think all that was planned out, dog.
It was all deliberate. But I listen to Iverson. Iverson as a retired player, all he talks about is Kobe.
That's all he talks about.
But if you look at any clip, if you look at any clip from any player, everybody talk about how Kobe is alpha balls.
Yeah, I don't have listen. I don't have a problem with I agree with people not liking Kobe, right? He wasn't a likable player, but I don't equate liking somebody in competition as a bad thing. Right. Like you don't have to like somebody to be competitive, and that's my difference. Like I look at it differently. I look at like I'm very competitive, but if you're gonna play with me, you're gonna know that I'm gonna be competitive and you're gonna get the best effort out of me. I don't care if you like me or not. Right. That's like not part of my DNA. So when I hear the comparisons, I just always go back to I don't care if people don't like somebody. It doesn't matter to me. Like who won? Like I just want to know who won and who wants to win. That's how I look at it. So I get it.
It's interesting too because I think about the 80s when you think about Jordan trying to ascend, man, it was the giants of basketball at the time. You got Bird, Magic, in Detroit, the Bad Boys of Detroit, Elijah. I mean, you had folks in there that were eclipsing. He was still, everybody was watching yo, this guy's it. But as far as winning, he hadn't won anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so he had to be that dude to say, you know what? I hate everybody that I'm playing against.
I think that was just the era, though. Everybody now was friendly, man.
It's just too friendly.
Guys up off the court and stuff like that.
It's too friendly now.
Is it?
I agree.
It is.
Like I was talking. We were having an argument. We were having an argument today. I was out today, and we're talking about Chris Jackson.
Yeah.
And I go on a limb, and you could disagree with me, and I don't really care, but I still feel like there's some portion of Chris Jackson. Chris Jackson to me was Steph Curry before Steph Curry got into the league. Like he was at LSU. Like he was like Shaquille O'Neal will tell you that was the baddest man in college basketball at one time, and nobody remembers that. He was shooting threes. He was doing all types of things at the small guard position that cats wasn't used to. And his career got derailed because of his political beliefs and his religion and stuff like that. But the dude was doing these things that we see now that are celebrated in the NBA before anybody else was doing it. Yeah. He had handle, he could jump, he did everything.
Yeah.
So I grew up with Chris. So we the same year. So we on that AAU circuit together. Like Chris got Tourette's or something because he has a lot of. Yeah. He jumps and stuff. He glitches when he glitches when he's shooting. I was in the car with him one time, and the whole time he's looking out the other direction while he's driving. It was crazy. But Chris he's an amazing player. But back then, basketball was about stats and numbers and measurements. It was just about measurements. If you was a 6'3" guy that could handle a little bit, you're gonna get a shot in the NBA. Don't matter if that 6-foot guy or that 6'1" guy was better than you. Because for me, Mark Brown was my Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
Absolutely, yeah. Mark was dope too. Mark was bending Vanguard.
And he was doing it on a high level at that time in college and everything. And I seen him do everything I seen him do at Columbia and on AAU. I seen him do it as a pro. So, but they wasn't open to that. Like for me, if I was 2 inches taller, I would be filthy rich. I would have made tons of money if I was just 2 inches taller. I'm 6'7", but if I was 6'9",
talking about the
I would be
intangibles,
a
right?
real
Like,
legitimate. Yeah, I would have been a power forward legit. Now I ain't got to go through all the hoops I got to go through. Even if my game was the exact same, or I could have been a little bit less of a player. But if I was 6'9", my ticket would have been written. So measurements meant a lot back then. Measurements. Steph Curry changed the game.
Were everything.
College, because what he did in college changed the game so much they had to give him a shot.
Wow.
They had, because those 3 years in college, he killed it.
And I'm thinking his brother went to Duke, and he went to UC. Like he went to the blue blood school of Duke to play basketball. And you look and you
after
see
Steph.
After
Steph, he did that after Steph. Yeah,
he did it after him. But I'm saying, I see what you're saying. So that
and you got to realize
he probably came around because of
they
Steph.
came up in North Carolina.
And
Dad played in North Carolina.
and you got to look at what Steph did in the tournament. I mean, he
was a beast.
That's what he
did.
But
Chris Jackson was a beast in the tournament too. Chris Jackson was a beast in the tournament too.
But that's before social media. That's before all this publicity. Steve Jackson was an anomaly. If you wasn't about LSU, you didn't know. You didn't know about it.
And they kind of fell short though, because that team should have won. Shaq, Stanley Robertson, Chris Jackson. I mean, they got a bad rap because they didn't win it. They should have won it.
It was Dale Brown. Dale Brown was not a good coach.
They lost to Villanova, right? They lost to Raleigh, right? They lost to Raleigh. Raleigh and Villanova, right? Because my man.
They lost to Villanova. Yeah,
and Villanova big man was like 6'9".
Yeah, they had a great team. They had another.
But like we argue about all this stuff all the time about generations and eras, and like I look at Shaq, right? Like when I look at young Shaq, blue chip movie Shaq.
Yeah,
Shaq could dominate Embiid and Jokic right now. Because for me, it's like if you put Shaq on the court in the NBA today as a young Shaq. Like the Jokic and even Embiid, they're going to be still skillful, but Shaq was skillful too. Yeah. And the difference is that Shaq will wear them out because he's going in the paint, right? And they have to guard him in the paint. Yeah. So what happens is your legs get as a forward, you understand, don't you get tired when you have to defend big men, right? So Jokic is not doing all that stuff in the fourth quarter against a Shaquille O'Neal in the fourth quarter because he has to guard a big man that's playing in the post that's in the middle that's dominant. Like I don't get it. I don't get it. Like all the stuff
Shaq
about
is generational dominant. Shaq is generational dominant. Generational dominant.
Yeah.
He would have dominated any generation.
What y'all feel?
You can't do it.
I missed this comment right here about Coach Williamson.
Yeah, he couldn't shut down Mark Brown. I remember those games too.
What
I used to feel.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wes. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Benny. No, go ahead. Absolutely.
Oh, I was saying, what you think about this argument, this recent argument? I like Perkins on Big Perk on TV because he say what he feel. He ain't got no filter. It's almost like he feel like
where you going.
I want to get fired, and I'm just before I leave, I'm gonna tell you what. You can't let him go because everybody else is up there just talking, but he really, him and JJ Redick, the two of them, I'm talking about like they really but it's a good.
They have good debates.
Yeah,
because I respect both of them, right? I respect both of them from different, but you have to only take them in doses, right? Because JJ Redick doesn't get it. Because you have a black girlfriend and everything, you like black women, don't mean that you know what the blackness is. So that stops him right there. And he thinks he gets it because of that, right? Because he thinks he's connected, right?
Right.
And then Perk is only about his generation. When Perk loses me when he says that LeBron is more socially connected than Bill Russell was. Like I can't mess with that, right? When you start thinking about like these guys, they get clickbait, right? So those shows are all about clickbait, and what you can say to get people to talk about, right? But Perkins, what he said about Jokic and Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki, he's not wrong. It's just they don't want to hear it, but he's just not wrong. Yeah. When Nowitzki and Steve Nash won MVP that year, there's not any, like I keep saying it, no one on this panel will think that he was better than a Duncan, than a Shaq, than a Garnett, than a Kobe ever in a day. Like, it wasn't possible.
Ever.
You don't win MVP by scoring 16 points a game.
Yeah.
And you can't even get to the finals, right? Jokic is getting a two-time MVP. He ain't been in the finals yet, just like Steve Nash.
I don't understand how. I mean, listen, I've watched him.
But it's the regular season. It's the regular season, right? That's what they're going to say. It's the regular season MVP. They're going to say it's the regular season MVP.
I can see. Here's the thing, right? The only two players, if he wins it this year, the only two players to ever three-peat on MVP is Larry Bird and Jokic. No Michael Jordan, no Shaq, no Kobe,
no Magic. No,
that's someone else did it.
Nah,
it was a third person.
Nobody
it was
else.
a third.
It's hard. The MVP voting is so subjective. Like you know,
if anybody else did it, I can guarantee you it was a white player.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
They don't
I agree.
So Embiid is one of these unliked players until recently. Like, you know, I probably watch every Sixers game played, and I can see. I think, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I've watched them during, you know, the process is over. They calling it that thing is over, right? What's the guy they drafted that's now in Orlando? Markel Fultz.
Markel Fultz.
The idea of what that was supposed to be is gone. Ben Simmons, I can't even waste my time.
Don't do it.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, that whole idea is gone. So now it's just Embiid with, you know, pieces that have been good pieces that have been put together. And I think that somebody probably last year or over the summer said to him when he lost and he came in third, I think, for the MVP voting last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, the players you, it don't matter how good you play, they don't like you.
Yeah.
Sports fighters don't like you because you're
They
not
don't like
him. Shaq was lovable, as big as was, and did Embiid.
But he got one MVP though. Shaq got one MVP. Kobe has one MVP.
Damn.
Duncan has 3 MVPs. Garnett has 1 MVP. Dirk Nowitzki has 1 MVP.
Yeah, but I think you're right, Benny, in that
he's nice.
Writers don't like him, and I don't think players like him. He's brash. He's very arrogant. He speaks his mind. And they have an African alternative in Giannis.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Who has a championship, Mike.
Yeah.
He still ain't got one. So I know that chip is on his shoulder.
Giannis won back-to-back, right?
He won back-to-back.
Giannis has 2. Giannis has 2.
Kevin
I gotta say though, it ain't like jokers don't put up the numbers though.
No, he puts up numbers.
He puts up the numbers.
Oh, he puts up the numbers. Who
Jokic puts up the numbers? But I think it's a matter of you take. If I'm going to take an African, and I do believe they think like this. If I'm going to take an African, I'm going to take the nice, humble, appreciative African.
Well, excuse me, gentlemen. As much as I love to comment, I gotta go. I just want to say thank you very much, man. I appreciate y'all.
Coach Bragg, thank you, sir. Anytime you
good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate what you're doing, Coach. Keep doing it.
Appreciate y'all, man.
But you're right.
I think that's what it is, and it's just like they want Luka to develop so he can be the one that now they can say, okay, we're going to either take Joker or we're going to take Luka.
Well, that's what I think. That's what happened after the 2-year run Giannis was on, because Embiid should have won it that first year Joker won it, but they didn't want the brothers to keep dominating, so they gave it to and you can see how it was sort of justifiable. And then last year he just continued to put up the numbers, but I don't think he's going to win it this year. I think he's falling off. I think he's falling off
this year. Healthy Embiid.
He's gonna win it again.
Oh, Embiid. I think Embiid's gonna come back and win it.
The last couple games have been kind of rocky, but if they straighten course over the last couple weeks, he's still gonna be in the running.
But Denver's falling off.
He's got the numbers.
He's
not the only one who's got the numbers, and that's the thing. He's not the only one. I think Embiid is a candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of those two.
What's that kid?
They got Giannis is in there too.
What's that kid? Oh, go ahead.
No, they have Giannis as I think Giannis and Embiid and Jokic.
Giannis
those are the 3.
Oh yeah, those are 3. Yeah, thank you.
What's that kid in Sacramento?
Oh,
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
No,
No,
that's
De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, De'Aaron Fox. Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox.
Oh my God.
Nobody's watching those games though because the market is small, so we not getting those. You know what I mean? Like those games.
They don't get on TV.
But I caught it. I'm looking at this guy like, wait a minute, hold up. And
and
the Lakers had a
put
chance
it on
to get it. They blew it. They went for run. That's crazy, yo.
Listen, the other thing that makes me laugh is that for the last, I think it's 22 years, the NBA has always been 80% black and then 20% everybody else. And so are they telling me that no more than 80% of brothers have stopped playing basketball because they keep the numbers? That rationale still stays the same. So it almost feels like a quota share because that number has never changed for the last 20 years. It's always been 80% black. So I'm sitting there saying, so no more than 80% are still playing, or are you not going to accept more than 80%?
Well, I think this what you're saying, I think goes back to a bigger conversation about sports and like even with boxing, baseball. Like if we think about, let's go to early 19th century when you had all the immigrants that came in here were the champions. You had Jewish boxing champions, Italian boxing champions, you had Jack Johnson. But then all of a sudden, when we had our shot, it wasn't no more white. You know what I mean? They moved on to something else. You look at baseball. We were so good at baseball, they had to give us our own league because they were scared to put. And then when they did, look what happened, right?
Yeah. Well, now it's 8% in baseball, right?
Right, but I argue that because what they're trying to do, and when you watch a game, you see black faces. I don't care if they're from the Dominican Republic or Cuba. Those are black
faces.
Those are black faces.
Yeah.
But they're trying to create the narrative. Yes, American blacks aren't attached to base. That's our parents' game generation, right? But let's not get it twisted. What we are phenotypically and physically, in the essence of what we are, whether it's from DR or Panama or Cuba or whatever, is dominating baseball.
Absolutely.
Don't give me
I totally agree with you
about that.
But on the flip side, in basketball, it's different, right?
It's different now
because that 20% of the international, the Jokers, those type of guys, what are they, right? So they're not American white.
No, but then you got the Giannis and the Embiid. So the NBA had a program, I think, where they want to expand the game internationally, and they want the international money, and that's what they're showing right now.
Yeah, they need it.
There's not even an American in the conversation anymore for MVP, and the one who could have been is now in rehab for Hennessy.
Well, that boy. I feel bad for him.
All right, yeah, we might as well just had this conversation now.
Tatum was in the conversation.
Tatum
early in the season, yeah.
Yeah, Tatum was.
I think his son might be more of an MVP than he is.
You're right there, Coach.
Would you say, Hawk, this conversation, the Ja Morant conversation?
Yeah, because I don't know who's running the ship right now, but it seems like they're making all the right moves.
They what? Making all the right moves, you say?
It seems like his camp is making all the right moves.
Right.
Well, it seems like the NBA is really handling it and basically not smearing him like you would think that they had, they normally do to the young brothers too. However, I guess Powerade dropped them, which you got to expect it.
Yeah, because they had another drop of photos with him. It was kind of reckless.
With the money all over the floor. I think with him, man, the issue, I think, like you look, all right, LeVar Ball, right?
Thank you.
No, everybody gets mad at him. I never got mad at him. You know why?
I didn't either.
You ain't got to like his attitude. His sons are on the right track.
Yes.
He's a father that was there and made sure that he drove him to practice, did this. You're going to be great. You're going to be greater than your brother. It got them to compete against each other to help their greatness. And so you see that. And I don't know T. Morant. I have no idea about the man. I'm not saying anything negative about him, but I'm just saying, as a father, I'm a father of 4 kids, and one of my kids is out there in that capacity doing that. I'm thinking back to Shannon Sharp in that fight at the not the the skirmish, and I'm thinking back to that. He knows something that we aren't privy to.
Right.
He knows something that we're not privy to, and that is what caused that. I think back to LeBron James's skirmish with John Morant. It was very brief, and it was what's the Brooks kid?
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks.
LeBron, and let's keep it 100. LeBron is one of the cleanest stars you ever see. He wasn't Jordan. Jordan would do some dirty stuff to a guy. LeBron
is clean.
He might knee a guy by, he might do that. But LeBron's a clean player. He's
clean
not
player.
He's not going to talk trash like that. He told John Morant, yo, I'm going to tell you right now, your man, he got one more time. And I'm sitting here like, what is going on with that team? So there's an atmosphere around that team. There's an atmosphere around that city.
Yes.
That's what it is. They've embraced that young thuggery.
They embraced that young thuggery. And that has then now imprinted itself upon John Morant, and he feels like he has to be that for them. It's when you play in a city like that. Like New York is a difficult city to play in as a sports figure because you got 2 basketball teams, 2 football teams, 2 hockey teams, 2 baseball teams. There is no true identity, and then the football teams play in Jersey, so they're not even in New York. So when you're a player for New York, and if you're a basketball player and you come into the Garden all the time, the last person that really, to me, felt like a New York Knick was Patrick Ewing. I mean, let's think about it. Like somebody that was like, I'm going to live and die by this, and this is my city, this is my team. Nah. I love Melo. I'm just saying I can't make that. He's from New York, so I'm talking about somebody that comes to the
embraced it. Yeah.
And embraced it and took on what the city was. So when you have smaller cities like a Philadelphia, like a Memphis, and you get these players and you exalt them, right? That's when you get a AI or a Joel Embiid who is braggadocious and brass and arrogant and talk crap. That's Philly. You know what I'm saying? That's Philly. John Morant is Memphis right now.
Yeah.
These kids is out there. They shot Dolph at the thing and they killing this one and this, and he's that. So it's hard to look at that, at 51 years old, to look at him like he's doing anything wrong. I just think he needs a course correction. I applaud him for sitting out right now and just saying, you know what? Basketball is not the most important thing. My mental health, my physical health, the well-being of the people around me, that is more important. And I think when that kid come back, man, he's going to be – he's
be a problem.
Yeah. He's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. He's going to be, and you'll see
in a good way, ladies and gentlemen. In a problem.
In a good way, yeah. In a good way.
Watch his orbit change because there's too much invested in him.
Oh yeah,
he can be Kobe. He can be Kobe. He needs another 10 or 15 years of that consistency, but he can be like a Kobe, his own version of that. But I'm just glad it's happening now with him. Was he 23?
23 years old.
23.
And he was, I think, going down the path of a lot of Memphis celebrities, whether they're hip hop or whatever, where unfortunately he may have gotten shot if he kept going down his path. Just the way he was acting, because he started to embody that Memphis, mentality. And the NBA had put too much money into him.
Yeah.
I'm not talking Nike. I'm not talking Powerade. I'm talking about the NBA.
Right.
He was set up to be the next American star.
Yeah.
Because even though Tatum is good, I think Tatum is the other one, but he's not as exciting.
He's not as exciting,
exhilarating as John Morant is.
And he plays for the Celtics. A lot of people don't like the Celtics.
Right.
Right. Like the Cowboys. We just like the Dallas Cowboys. People don't like the Cowboys.
Yep.
Well, that's why we got.
Tatum was going to get that hate just because a lot of people don't like the Celtics. And so John Morant was set up to be this star, and look, he's not doing anything. The other whatever the number is, 23-year-olds in the league are doing. They go to strip clubs. They having, you know, fun and all that stuff. But he had a lot more on the line. And unfortunately, because of the environment they're raised in now, the culture of social media, this idiot was putting it on, you know, Instagram.
That's the that's the main part, because I know you guys remember when I think it was Ewing that got caught at the Gold Club in Atlanta, and he was all caught up.
City.
No, I think it was Gold Club. I think it was Gold Club. It was Nicky's. Yeah, it was Gold Club, and he got caught up in that, and the champagne. You know, all that stuff was going. It wasn't no social media, right? This ain't that different. You know what I mean? This is very similar to that. Except kids don't understand anonymity at all. Like everything needs to be.
They don't understand discretion anymore.
No, they don't.
Well, it's the exact opposite. They want to put it out there. I mean, he basically got himself in trouble, put himself out there, put himself in the whole position.
Yeah, he did that himself.
Yeah, he did all of it himself. Now, the NBA could have held, you know, the way they're cleaning them up, and because all of these counseling and programs that he's put in, I really don't think they're self-imposed, but I think that the way that they're basically putting it out there to the public, it's putting them in a good light, and it's basically keeping him kind of clean. And from what I'm hearing, it's actually been, well, it's going to be like a 50-game suspension, but they're basically being kind of creative how they release all the information and any penalties that he's, you know, really being imposed with. So, you know, I like the fact that they're not dragging him through the mud, and they're basically playing this out the way it is, because, you know, he doesn't look bad right now.
I mean, you know, the NBA is known for the discreet suspension.
Yeah,
they've done it previously to a star who has a very well-selling shoe. You know, they know how to suspend you without it coming out. Being suspended.
Tell you to retire for a minute or whatever.
Yeah, you know, let me retire. You know, I don't enjoy the game anymore. And the precedent had already been set as well with, if you have a gun, what the penalty is with Gilbert Arenas. So, you know, they as well as Steven Jackson, I believe. So
you're talking about a gun in a different city, a different state.
Right.
You
so
know
now you're talking federal.
You know, because a few things I want to just tap in, right? One, on that point right there, was the gun in a different state. How do you prove that gun is not from that state?
Because if he owns the gun and the problem is if he got on the airplane with the gun, this is what's tricky for me.
But how do you prove you can't prove he got on the airplane with the gun?
Well, if he
now you're saying he bought the gun when he got there. That's another problem.
It could be anybody's gun.
Well, if it's his gun and he's from Memphis and it's registered, which it should be, and he has it in there.
You don't have. Is it Memphis?
But the party was in the party.
It's like
the strip club was in Denver, though. No.
Yeah, it was in Denver. That's what I'm saying. If it's his gun and he traveled to the game by plane and he's showing this gun that's registered and is his in Denver, Colorado, unless his boys met him for the game and they can prove it that way, I mean, theoretically, you know, you're going to say that he brought the gun on NBA property, which is against the law and against their rules, transported it to the game in Denver, and now he's waving it in a strip club in Colorado. I mean, that's what you're going to have to, I guess that's all the investigations are trying to prove, basically.
Now, the other part of that, Hawk, is if you're saying, say it's one of his boys' guns, so they flew it to Colorado.
Right.
So then if they his mans, they going to take the fall for that.
You have boys in Colorado.
Nah, I mean they could have driven from Memphis to Colorado, but I get you.
Listen. At one point in time, I used to get calls from NBA players, NFL players. Jokers used to fly me in to the Madism. You know what it is. You know, my clientele was next level, Benny. Come on.
I know. I was there.
You know,
I remember.
You fly in he's got a crew of people that's Denver based that he's fucking with. His people from Memphis ain't going to the game. He got people. He's been in the league now how long? 3 years.
3 years. Zion and them came in.
Goddamn city. Like I don't know. I'm just, you know.
I think the problem. I think the issue is two parts. The precedence was set with Gilbert Arenas, right? And the rules were made very clear because he had the gun in the locker room. You can't have it with you. So that's something, you get drafted and you get in a team. These are things that they tell you.
Yeah.
If you own a gun, leave that in the car. Don't bring that in here. So then you bring it on the plane and you travel, because then you got to look at, okay, if you're trafficking guns, they have a whole organization called ATF that deals with just that, bringing guns across state lines. So there's so many things. So the NBA does not want to be embarrassed by one of their rising stars. So they're going to sit him down. They're going to act like the gun issue was something that it was not. And maybe it wasn't loaded, or he didn't have bullets, or whatever the case. They're going to clean it up. Listen, my boy Ron Artest, that's my boy, and Steven Jackson, in a game, assaulted people in the stands, right? And they got a 50 game, and so did O'Neal,
Jermaine
O'Neal, right? They got all these suspensions, and they came back to play. Let me see. Jackson got a championship, and so does Jackson got a championship with
too.
Yeah.
Artest got one with Kobe.
He got one with Kobe out the Lakers, right? So you look at that, and Artest was a problem coming in. They knew that from St. John's, like they knew he was wild for the night. But I say all that to say they understand what they're dealing with.
Yes,
when they getting these young men and the issues and things like that. This is a little different because he played himself.
Yeah,
he played it. Come on, yo, come on.
And speaking of your point, the NBA knows who your friends are.
Yeah, that's what Stephen A. Smith said.
And if he did get the gun from one of his friends in Denver, the NBA is on that too.
Yeah, they are.
Right.
And that's who would have taken the fall.
Right.
Well, to that point, and on the other side of that fence, the whole putting the red dot on the Indiana Pacer bus.
That was not cool.
Means that the police know every and all things. That should have been after that. Your association with guns and these friends who have guns, or even being in these types of situations. They had a team meeting that night.
Yeah,
Steven Adams led a team meeting.
Steven Adams pissed about it.
It was said to the team, but really the job. Listen, we're going to behave ourselves and not act a fool. Let's stay close to the hotel tonight. And that's the same night he got into this whole thing.
But see, that
was fueled by the Hennessy, apparently, It's the Hennessy driving all of it.
But that goes back to what I was saying about this young culture. Like Steven Adams been in 4 or 5 different NBA teams. He's a veteran. He's respected. He ain't no punk. You know what I mean? So it's like, if this guy's telling you something, he's a veteran on a team, he can get you a championship. Listen to this guy, yo.
Right.
These young cats don't care about.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. They don't care.
He looking at Steven Adams like, man, you ain't listening to hip hop. You from Australia or wherever you from, like.
Yeah, go do your hockey dance or whatever that is they do.
Yeah. Yeah. So he not messing with him like that. But I just, I hope the brother come back, and I'd love to hear from his dad though. To be honest,
that's the biggest issue in their locker room. The fact that Steven Adams, who's trying to talk some sense to them, is the oldest cat. I mean, he's 29 years old, so there's no vets, there's no OG. Yeah, Steven. Yeah. So there's no 30-year-old pluses in the locker room, no OGs, nobody. No. These guys to follow, so they're creating their own culture. And what are they?
Who's on their coaching staff? Who's on their staff that played?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Because I'm trying to picture this. I'm
trying to picture it too, and no one sticks out.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
And it's like Memphis is they're young, they're so arrogant to have not won a thing, all of them, and I don't really think any of them were really huge superstars in college. Dylan Brooks was good at Oregon.
Ja was. I mean, when that
Ja was, yes, but he came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
He was at Murray State.
Murray,
He wasn't highly recruited as a high school kid because he played on Zion's AAU team, but nobody really recognized him. But my biggest disappointment is with the father because he's around all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
And he's not being a father; he's being a fan, and he's part of the entourage.
Yeah, and that's what Shannon Sharp was saying on the show. He was like, he was trying to be respectful of that, but he was completely right what he was saying. Like, you got to be his dad, not his friend.
Yeah.
No, and I don't want to hear that. Oh, he's making all the money now, so he's gonna do like.
I can't mess with that either. That's your father. You got to be like, listen, son, you make $35 million a year. Those dudes you hanging with, they make $35 a year combined.
Well, he's not even making that yet. John Morant ain't making
I'm
that
just
yet.
saying, that's the conversation.
He was on the brink. He cost.
It kicks in next year.
Next year,
his $231 million kicks in next year.
It would have kicked in.
He's still gonna get it. He's
he's
gonna
gonna get it.
Yeah, he's going to
now he did lose money because he's probably not going to make one of the All NBA teams.
Yeah.
So it is going to cost him some money. He won't get to Supermax.
That was $34.9 million.
Yeah, he's not going to get to Supermax. He'll get the max, but not the Supermax.
Not the Supermax.
I mean, and I would be all right with the max. That's
you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, right. All right, yeah. So let's have this basketball conversation. Who you feeling, Benny?
For it,
for the championship,
championship. I think. Well, I'm always honest. I'm gonna be real. Like, I want Sixers, but the way we're moving right now, I feel good about the Sixers. I think, it could come down to us in Boston, which is classic. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The way the teams are structured and the bench that Boston has right now, the edge would go to Boston, I think. Embiid would have to do something. No, let me take that back. Harden would have to do something incredible to get us to the championship.
He's not known to do in the playoffs.
He's not known to do it. So I will, at this moment, with everybody's health and everything that as is what it is, I would say Boston, and then hoping that my Sixers would play them in the Eastern Conference Finals and that we would win. On the West, I don't know. Denver's going down. The craziness is that this nigga LeBron put up an IG post to him in the I didn't forget about the Bucks. I just think that I like the Bucks, but I'm not gonna put them over the Sixers. And what Embiid is doing head to head against Giannis, I think he gonna outplay him. So that's what I look at. But the Bucks do have what's his face, the other center,
Brook Lopez,
right? Lopez,
and they
Lopez
Bucks have a deeper team,
and they got a deeper squad than us.
Mm-hmm.
But LeBron put up this IG post where he's like, I remember Star Wars, and they had in Return of the Jedi. Empire Strikes Back, and Luke, they got him from the snow, and then they put him in that chamber, and he had the mask on and the whole thing. Go to LeBron's IG, but he put a picture of that. It's like he's getting rejuvenated.
They got a squad.
And I'm a Laker hater. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I love LeBron so much.
Oh God!
You know what I mean?
I would not be mad.
No, my name.
I love LeBron, man. Everything about the guy. I just
think.
Let
me give you the whole shit. All right, so Benny.
What?
So me and Cliff, we go back to like the 6th, 7th grade. Me and Wes go back to junior year high school. Right. I know Coach E since he was over at BMG during the bad boy years when he was over at BMG.
Yeah.
So it was like early 2000s.
Late 90s.
Late 90s.
Late 90s. Now, Coach E and Wes are like die-hard Laker fans.
Okay.
Like Wes, the whole time I've known him, like I was at first a Doc fan with the Sixers.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was a Michael Jordan fan with the Bulls.
Right.
he was Lakers through and through and through.
Right.
So Magic, Kareem, Kobe, Shaq, Kobe, Powell. He's Lakers through and through. It pains these two that I'm rooting for the Lakers because I fuck with LeBron so heavy.
Yeah, I like LeBron. It's
right. So every show they taking jabs. If somebody mentions something that gives Kobe some shine, what you say, Kobe? Right? So when you just said what you said about LeBron, it was like throwing water on the wicked witch of the West.
Right.
No, don't.
I gotta hate the Lakers. Every time the Sixers have ever gone to the championship since 1980, it's been against the Lakers. So I can't. There's no way I can like the Lakers like that.
I understand. It's just what you mentioned, LeBron.
Benny, you have good reason, Benny, and I understand you have good reason.
Same reason I hate the Celtics. We always had to vote to get there.
I get you, and I'm not mad at you like LeBron. I'm not mad at that. I understand. LeBron is he's a likable dude for a lot of people, and he's an unlikable dude for a lot of people too. It's like white wine and red wine. It's just like what you rather have. That's all it boils down to.
But you know what though, and forget what Skip Bayless says. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember a time when you could say LeBron ain't trying out there. I don't remember. He might not have felt good.
I don't know about that. Don't say that to them,
dude. Look what he won
a bunch of times when they say
look what he won the championship with that Cleveland team. Look what he had.
No. Listen. We understand, but see, when you gotta, Benny. I'm liking your conversation, so I'm gonna keep this real easy. We gotta look at the whole resume. We can't forget about things. We don't. So we gonna just cancel out the Miami Dallas Mavericks series when we gonna cancel that out.
They hadn't figured it out yet.
No. He hadn't figured it out. It's not a they thing. Wade already had a championship. It's not a they thing.
No. What's the name had a championship? Not Chris Bosh and LeBron ain't had no championship.
No, well, Chris Bosh wasn't. When you play with LeBron as a superstar, you're not like you guys always say this stuff about how he elevates. No.
I think he
eliminates. No, he elevates Deladova and Damon Jones and guys like that, role players.
You don't think he elevated?
No, absolutely not. Wade was already a champion. How can he elevate someone as a champion?
He was a champ because of Shaq, if I remember correctly.
No, Wade was the catalyst of having Shaq, but he was actually the most dominant player in that series.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you that.
I would have to agree with that. I mean, I think so. So I just don't see it.
What happened was that Miami team fell apart. 2 years later, they got bounced in the first round. I think the next year they didn't make the playoff.
And Shaq was going.
And Dwayne Wade, understanding what he needed in Miami, appealed to LeBron Bosh to come to Miami.
Yeah.
And given the circumstances that have happened in Cleveland, he was like, let me get out of town. He was able to study up under Dwayne Wade, a proven leader.
And hold on. And Pat Riley. Let's not
get Pat Riley.
Oh,
thank you. Yeah, Pat Riley. Totally agree. And
Pat Riley. You know, but while there, LeBron was able to soak it all up and apply what he learned in that next Cleveland run, 3 straight chips.
Wasn't immediately able to apply that because when he was talking about 4, 5, and 6 championships, you know, that was all hype, right? But at the end of the day, I just say like,
you don't like
everybody
LeBron?
Has, huh?
You don't like LeBron?
I think LeBron is a top 5 player. I get crucified because I think he's a top 5 player all time.
Yeah.
But I just don't have him as. He's not my favorite player. That's all I'm trying to say.
Who's your top 5 then?
I have LeBron in the top 5. But I get criticized because that's a problem because people want LeBron to be number 1, and I won't do that. Won't do that.
No.
Hey,
I can't do that.
Who's your 5? He asked you who your 5 was.
I have LeBron, Kareem, Magic, Jordan, and I always go by position. So I go Magic and Jordan, at the guards, LeBron at the small forward,
Right.
Duncan and Kareem at the center and power forward. And Jordan, like I said. So those are the 5 that I have. But I do position. I don't do top 5 players. I just go by the starting 5 by position.
Right. Like if you had to put a team, that's your team. That makes sense.
Yeah, if I had to put a team together. But if I had to and I'm just talking about what their resume is, but if I had to put a team on the floor, I would actually pick Larry Bird if I had to win one game at the small forward. I would pick Bird over LeBron just because I know that with Jordan, Bird, Magic, Kareem, and Duncan, I got 5 killers.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what I'm saying. So, but I still got LeBron as a top 5 player all time. That's what I'm saying.
That's been my thing, Benny.
All time.
My gripe with LeBron is he's not a killer, and I like killers.
But I think I think he's a quiet killer. I don't think he, man, look, we've seen him show out and and people just move out the way when he's trying to win. He's going to show you.
No, I think he can kill.
He can, yeah. I think he's
like, look, I got a Rottweiler, right? The sweetest dog in the world, just would rather cuddle than anything. Now, is he capable of killing? 100%.
Yeah.
But would he rather just come sit on my lap and he 110 pounds? Yeah, that's what he'd rather do.
That's what he'd
rather do. LeBron is, he'd rather be everybody's friend, get everybody involved, then he's not going to go out and kill. Kobe's a killer. Magic, even with that smile, was a killer. Jordan
Bird was a killer.
Larry Bird was a killer.
Larry Bird was a killer.
In
the hard
Tim Duncan, killer. Kareem, I just like killers. I do think LeBron is great and one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, that's what I do.
As far as what he's done off the floor, phenomenal.
Nobody can touch him.
For his friends and family,
no argument.
Phenomenal. Would never argue that.
No argument.
Killers, and that's my preference.
Well,
It's all basketball related. I think LeBron is a great dude. Like off the court, can't touch him. I love the position he's in. Love what he stands for. But on the court, I just have a different feeling.
What other player has? And I don't know this. I'm asking this question seriously. Like I don't know, but what other player of that magnitude has taken 3 separate teams and won championship?
I look at that as a generational thing. I don't think that's a fair question because they didn't do that back in the day. So
Cats got
traded.
I
get
it. They didn't do what back in the day?
They traded people, but what I'm saying is the culture in the NBA now is a lot different than it is back. It was just different. So yeah, it is. It is different.
Wilt Chamberlain went to a stacked team in LA, bro. Charles Barkley forced his way out of Philly to get the.
He didn't force his way out of Philly. They had no choice but to trade him because guess what? They weren't going to win. Like they said, Jesus Christ wasn't going to win with this team. No. So it wasn't like Barkley did not strong on Philly. Kevin Garnett did not strong on Minnesota. They spent 13 or 12 years in a city that wasn't going to win. I just think that I get what you guys are saying. I just think the culture is just different. That's it. These guys play together.
But I'm not trying to be funny. I'm asking a real question here.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan went to another team. Did nothing. That's why I'm just
30 at 39 years old. I get it. Just like the Lakers have been under 500.
And that was an ownership play. That wasn't.
Yeah, I mean that was. I don't even. I get it, but you play with the Bulls.
But I'm still trying to. And I'm not talking about. Hold on. I'm not talking about like Robert Horry.
Not the same.
I mean, Robert Horry got rings with the Lakers with San Antonio only, right?
He's a role player.
Lakers, San Antonio.
He's a role player. Yeah, he's a role player.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about a guy whose team, whose franchise is on their back, that went from one franchise, went to another one, got a championship, got another one, left that one, went back to the team that you left. The owner said all kinds of terrible things about you.
Mm-hmm.
You went back there and won a championship for him in the city.
Then I don't think anyone's done it.
Went to the team with the most championships, almost, right? Close to what the Celtics got.
With Robert Horry in the era of Jordan, LeBron,
no, I'm thinking LeBron.
Kareem,
Huh?
No, I'm talking about LeBron doing.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I get
his game is able to travel. That's the only argument I would ever make.
Yeah, I don't think
the only argument I would
any
ever make for
superstar
LeBron to be better than just the only argument I would make. Now, if by any craziness we come back here in May and have this conversation and regroup this conversation, and LeBron has won a championship. I know they're 11th in the West, but they could be 6th. They could win 3 games and be
they'll be 6th place. Yeah.
If he wins a championship this year, there's no question that he's the greatest. That's all I got to say. If he wins a championship this year with this team and the motley crew that he's playing with and all stuff that's going on.
All right, so here's the thing, Boom. And all right, so I really appreciate LeBron's game. He's more well-rounded than most. He brings more attributes to the game than people give him credit for, right? Over the course of his career, right? I think he's had the best career out of anybody I've seen, right? But over the 10 years in the 90s, when it was like you needed somebody to go get it, we didn't see nobody do it like Michael Jordan.
No, you didn't. But let me say this too. When we're talking about this brand of basketball, LeBron James is capable and has played every single position on the court.
Mm-hmm.
And he at that position, he was the best player on the court at that time. Like let's really think. Let's think about this for a second.
I would say 4 positions. I would say 4.
Center,
but he wasn't a good center. He wasn't a good. Let's not say center. I would say
let's not say he was a good center.
No,
the 4.
The 4. Only the 4 spots, not center. And listen, and again, as a Laker fan, I'm a Laker fan.
Yeah.
I just can you tell me in history, and it's a question. I'm not being sarcastic.
Right.
Can you name any championship team that won a championship when they were allowed to have 3 months off between playing and starting again?
3 months. Oh, you mean
as an older player, I'm just saying everybody had off. It was not like it was unbalanced. What I'm saying is, I call it the bubble chip, because again, when you have Anthony Davis on your squad who can't stay healthy for more than 6 weeks at a time, and you're up in age, and you get a 2.5, well, it's really 2.5 months to rejuvenate, to go play an 8-game preseason, which they did, and then get into the playoffs. It's just a different scenario. Not discounting that everybody else did it. I get it.
That's not the.
But that doesn't happen.
I got a question.
That's not. That's not his fault. But it's never happened. When you start comparing things, no one else in championship history did it.
But everybody had the same opportunity.
No. I get that year. But what I'm saying, historically, what other championship team had that opportunity to heal up and play again?
But you can't look at it. You have to look at that as an isolated situation, because every single player had the opportunity to take that time off, regroup, decide if the team wanted to play.
In that season. I said that. I said in that season. What I'm asking you, historically, what other team that had aging people on their squad and people that stay hurt had the opportunity to rejuvenate for 2.5 months and get back on the court?
The lockout year, the Spurs won it.
That wasn't a lot. I mean, the lockout year, the Spurs won it. The Knicks were 8
the whole year.
The 99
yeah, but the Spurs were 1 seed the whole team, the whole year. The Spurs were consistently the best team, and they played an 8 seed because Miami got beat by an 8 seed.
Which was
LA was consistently the best year they won it in the bubble.
No, they were. Milwaukee was the best team, and then LA ended up being the best team.
Best in the West.
Okay.
What year are you talking about? What year are you talking about?
90. He's talking about 99.
99 when San Antonio.
Yeah, 99.
Knicks lost.
I want to use a phrase you always say to me, Uncle Wes. You say you can only play who's in front of you.
That's it.
That's true.
You can't be mad. Everybody
I agree with that. I still feel dirty.
They feel dirty. LeBron won it. AD got a little recuperation time. You know, I get it. I get it.
Hey, look.
I also remember, and back to Betty saying, you know, about the kill part. I also remember Rajon Rondo on that squad saying in a game that AD won the game for the Lakers that year on a jumper against the Nuggets in that bubble, and they said, "Why'd you give the ball to LeBron?" He said, "I can't give the ball to somebody who ain't looking for it."
Wow.
That was just Rondo. I'm just saying, but
wow.
You know,
that was the play. That was the play. They knew they was going to.
No, I know, I get it.
Wow.
But I mean, it goes back. I get it, but hey,
wow.
You know, but hey.
Wow.
Remember that, Coach? Remember that interview Rondo had?
When your passing point guard says that.
He said the play, they said, was the play supposed to go? He's like, well, it was supposed to go over the top to LeBron, but he wasn't looking for the ball. So AD cut across and he got open. He said, so I had to give it to the person who was looking for the ball.
That's not a knock. That's what happened.
No, Rondo, listen, you know Rondo. Rondo know what he's saying. Rondo know what he's saying.
Hey,
I can't give it to a man who ain't looking for it.
Real quick, Wes, I just want to let you know, Rutgers just lost to Hofstra in the NIT.
I know. I have it on. I had it up. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. The people got it right. They were the number 1 seed in the NIT, and they got beat in the first round as the number 1 seed.
They beat Purdue 2 years straight, right? Like they beat them. They beat them
last.
They
beat them. Yeah.
I don't know.
But they don't have offense. And what I don't understand about that is that how can you be in a D1 program and not be able to get players to get their own basket?
Yeah, right. I didn't
expect in a D1 college. Like you're playing D1 basketball in the Big Ten, and you got nobody on your roster that can go get a basket.
And they were seeded number 1 in NIT.
Yeah, Rutgers was number 1 in the NIT.
Number 1 seed in the whole NIT.
Yeah,
they're done.
Wow.
They didn't deserve to be in the chip, man.
Yo, Hawk, I got to bounce out, man.
Yo, man, I appreciate you hopping on the show, brother.
Yeah, man. Sir. I appreciate you guys, man. Good meeting you, brothers, man.
Always
all right, Benny.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Benny. Take care, y'all.
Thanks for the invite.
My man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So what else we got? We talking about Aaron Rodgers yet, or what?
Yo, you see his list that he gave up for
yeah,
guys
for the Jets
wants him to pursue.
Well, you saw that they signed Lazard and Cobb so far,
who are not really that good. Like,
yeah, but he wants what he wants, and
the Cowboys got Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, that's a big signing. I like that.
They traded for him, actually.
Yeah, it was only like a 5th round pick or 3rd round pick.
A compensatory 5th round pick for Stephon Gilmore.
Come on, you gotta love that deal.
I like that because they brought back Donovan Wilson, and they got Stephon Gilmore. They still got Malik Hooker, and they still got Curse. So I like that five piece in the backfield because Curse kind of is like a pseudo linebacker, and they're talking to Bobby Wagner. So if they can get Bobby Wagner in the house playing with Parsons and Van Der Esch, I like that defense.
And then we get
Gilmore and Diggs. I like Gilmore. I like Gilmore and Diggs. I love it. I love it.
And then we get D-Hop or OBJ because we got to sign a receiver.
Yeah, they're not gonna get D-Hop. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna get D-Hop. But if they get D-Hop, hey, great. I kind of rather go after D-Hop than go after LJB. I rather get Hopkins.
Yeah, and they just say OBJ is he's asking for $20 million.
He want $20 million a year.
Yeah, he's bugging.
Yeah, but hey, Dak gave back a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
He restructured that contract. Dak, Gallup, and Zach Martin. They got $36 million from 3 players. Nice. Restructuring the contract. So, yep.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's going to be interesting though with Rodgers. Like I just don't understand why the Jets are so desperate to have him.
I don't know.
I don't
What
understand.
about this guy? It was Jackson. I was gonna say, what about Garoppolo? He gets 3 years, $67 million,
Right.
and you give Daniel Jones $40 million a year.
Yeah.
Garoppolo is better than Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
They believe in him now. They really like Daniel Jones, and they got him Waller today. So I mean, he's probably gonna look better than he did this year. I mean, Darren Waller's a beast, yo.
Cliff, he had 15 touchdowns passing. He threw 15 touchdowns. He got $40 million, Cliff.
Now, yeah, I know.
15 touchdowns, Cliff. He got $40 million.
Dabo isolated him and just made it.
Guaranteed? What is his deal and what's guaranteed?
It's 4 years, but it's $80 million guaranteed.
The first 2 years, all of it is guaranteed. The first 2 years, and then on the backside is he's got to play it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he can. He's a great deal because he gets all his money up front. First 2 seasons. Yeah.
And what is Lamar looking for?
Lamar should. Personally, Lamar should get about 45, 50, but they gave him 35 as the franchise deal, which is kind of
non-exclusive. But Lamar passed up $200 million guaranteed. It's come out.
No, he didn't. It was $250 he asked for, but they only wanted to give him $130 guaranteed. And
I just saw the data. It got up to $200 million in September, and he didn't want that then.
But I heard that was a false report. That $200 million thing.
I hope it is false.
I mean, who's not going to take $200 million? I mean, guaranteed.
Somebody who wants to make the point that they're better than the person who got $230.
Well, he wants fully guaranteed.
He wants the Deshaun Watson contract.
Yeah, he wants Deshaun contract. But I was watching Cowherd today. Well, a clip from Cowherd, and he said something that makes a lot of sense. Where Lamar is representing himself, which I have no problem with, but he said the problem with that is he has no leverage when he goes into these negotiations. When you have an agent, they have other players that the owners want to, potentially sign or whatever, so they can use that as leverage. And that's the one part of him representing himself where it's hurting him.
And the fact that he doesn't have relationships with all these people. You know what I'm saying? And agents have all his relationships.
They have all the relationships.
This equity built up that they have the leverage, they have the knowledge, they know how to negotiate, they know the people. Lamar is just, it's just basically him trying to talk to these people about him. There's no buffer. There's no, in between. It's a tough situation, yo.
Yep.
I thought it was his mom, or wasn't there like an agent of?
Well, it is, but it's
it's him.
It's not like she's a lawyer or anything like that, or I think she's just his mom,
helping him represent himself, basically.
Yeah. Wow, Colin Ferguson style.
Yeah, it's a mess. That whole thing is a mess. I mean, it's kind of sad that the man can't get his money, but it is what it is, right?
And I think the owners are making an example out of him.
Yeah.
They're like, look, we're not going to do this. We're not going to give you a fully guaranteed deal because that other Negro shouldn't have got it either.
Right. See,
bingo.
I think Wes, you're frozen. You might want to leave and come back in.
Okay.
But I think they want to reset that standard. They don't want all guaranteed money, $200 million, guaranteed, and it only goes up from there. Every year you got to come in $250,000. $250 million and one player.
I can't believe I'm even saying this, but if they were to fully guarantee 2 black quarterbacks, now they gotta guarantee those white quarterbacks who's coming after them.
Joe Burrow. See, this is going to be the test. What happens with Joe Burrow?
Yeah, and I think that's what they're looking at.
And Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert too.
Yeah.
Those are the two.
Justin Herbert. Yeah, but
it's going to be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to tell us everything we need to know. Because if he ain't got no chip and he ain't got no MVP, if they give him more guaranteed money than they're willing to give Lamar Jackson, that's some bullshit.
But I don't even think it's the guaranteed money. I think it's the fully guaranteed money that they're against.
Oh yeah, fully guaranteed.
You know,
and Joe Burrow did get him to the Super Bowl. So I mean, he has more playoff wins than Lamar already. I mean, he don't have MVP, but he has more playoff wins. So he can stand on that, and the fact that his.
I mean,
listen, we're gonna have three chances to prove that that contract wasn't an outlier. We got Burrow, we got Herbert, and then we got Hurts. So those three at worst will come up before I think the Lamar saga is even really done with.
Well, what
I don't think he'll play for Baltimore again. I think he has to leave Baltimore.
I agree.
Yeah, but the problem is now, where is his market? Is there a market for Lamar right now? Because everybody was thinking it was Atlanta off the top. Then they were just like, okay, well, maybe the Raiders. Okay, well, maybe Miami. All three of them are done. And what? The Commanders just came out and basically said that we're not interested in him. So it's like, who's left? And I think all the horrible teams got the draft.
I think the Commanders. I think it's going to be the Commanders once they get a new owner. I think that changes their situation. Right now, the Commanders not going to do anything that's going to cost them a lot of money. I think the new owner, depending on who it is, will make that play.
I got you.
Coach Williamson, that's what I said to you earlier this week in a text message. I said, I hope he goes to the Commanders. That would be a good place for him.
I think so too.
Nice little project. And
I want to see what Jalen Hurts gets. Yeah. That's really. I mean, I already know what Joe Burrow gonna get. I already know what Herbert's gonna get. We can sit here and act like we don't know what they're gonna get. We already know they're gonna get $45 to $50 million. Let's stop playing like we don't. We already know that's what's gonna happen. And then we're gonna sit here and say, well, Jalen Hurts is only 1 year. He got to the Super Bowl, but it's only just 1 year, so you don't know. But Herbert's gonna get his money. Herbert's gonna. Has this guy been in the Super Bowl yet? Josh Allen? No, he hasn't. But it's just people. We can keep acting like it's not an issue, but it is. It's a facts. Like, we can act like it's not a fact. It's a fact. This is what happens. That's what the quarterbacks go through. Period. That's what they go through. As a black quarterback, this is what it is. Geno Smith had a better year than Daniel Jones. Geno Smith threw for 36 touchdowns and had 4,000 yards. He got less money than Daniel Jones. So I don't care about, like, it is what it is. Like, Daniel Jones don't deserve, like, I don't care about how much money they really make, to be honest with you. But just pay people that did better more. That's it. If Daniel Jones get 40, Geno should have got 44, 42, 41. Period. That's it. It's really that simple. Just based on performance. It has nothing to do with anything else. He outperformed Daniel Jones. That's it. Race will always be an issue. That's it. That's what it is. And we keep acting like it's not. Like, Joe Burrow is dope and Josh Allen is dope. They're good quarterbacks. I get it. But cats are outperforming them and getting paid less.
Time and again.
That's it. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
So we got Garoppolo in Vegas.
Yep.
Great pickup.
That's a great pickup.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's a good pickup.
Yeah.
No, okay. Let's see him throw the deep ball to Devontae. That's what I want to see. Let's see Garoppolo throw some deep balls consistently. That's what I want to see, because he
I would agree with that.
But
I would agree with that.
He lost Waller. I mean, his situation just got a little bit bleaker, but he has Devontae. They'll keep the running back. They'll keep Josh Jacobs. So we'll see.
I agree with that.
What about coaching? What about Josh? Damn.
I don't know. I know y'all not talking about it,
because they don't got no defense. I think the jury's still out because it's not like they bolstered the defense. So we'll learn a lot about the Raiders. I mean, is Garoppolo really that much better than Derek Carr?
Probably not.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
no.
I don't know.
I think it was a good exchange. Basically, you know, you didn't.
I think Carr just had to get out of there. He just had to get out of LA. I mean, get out of Vegas. Yeah. I like Derek Carr. I'm a Carr. I think Carr, to me, like he had the same type of year that Carson Wentz had his first season. When he got hurt, he busted his knee up, and the Raiders didn't win a playoff game, but he won like 13 or 12 games. I think they were 12-4 that first season, and you know they paid him. Or his second season, I know it was early, but he got hurt, and it was always kind of wondering what the Raiders could have did if he didn't get hurt that year in the AFC. But I like Carr.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen Carr actually go to the Jets.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that would be nice. I thought.
I like that too.
Place for him. Yeah,
but, you know.
But I gotta hop off, fellas.
Yeah, we good. We good. It was a good show. Thank you. 101 is in the can, and yeah, we set up for next week.
All right, gentlemen, we got March Madness starting.
Yeah, we got Madness talk next week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
start this week.
All right. Peace.
All right, y'all. Peace.